podcast. Thank you guys for sticking with me for this long. We're at the 68th or 69th episode, so we're kicking ass. Keep on sharing the videos. Keep on liking them. The algorithm's actually getting out there. I've had a couple friends that are not involved in the T.T.I at all reach out to me and be like, your shit's coming up in my feed. So,
wow.
So that's pretty cool. So keep on sharing whatever you guys are doing. Just keep on doing it. Let's keep on getting the word out there. And I want to thank my Patreon members. I want to thank William Rodriguez, Janine Miller, Jennifer Dax, and who was the other one? Hold on a second. I want to make sure that I'm giving credit where credit is due here. Oh, yeah, and Wendy Ann Leeds. Okay, thank you for being us Patreon members. If anybody else is interested in supporting the podcast, links are in the description, but I don't want to rag on too much about that. And I just want to say it's not expected at all. Anything is completely appreciated. Everything that is donated goes straight back into the podcast to make it better and improve it. So with that being said, just thank you guys for supporting the podcast, and let's keep it going. Let's get like 100 and then 200 and then 300 episodes. So without further ado, I have a return guest today. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself and where you went briefly, and then you can kind of just jump on into what you wanted to talk about this time.
Yeah, I was at a school like Jordan's. Oh, I'm supposed to see your name. I was at a sister school to yours, kind of. It was started by Synanon, I believe yours was too. But it was called CEDU. It was in Running Springs, California, and I was there from April of 1994 to June of 1996. I still have nightmares about it. It's still it's probably one of the biggest, influences my whole life. Any abuse I suffered previous to going there is erased from my memory. I only realized that very recently. It is still very traumatizing, and it still affects me 100%.
Okay. And you had you taken some notes for what you wanted to talk about this time, or
not really? There's a lot. Like, I don't think that anyone is gonna ever give you credit for what you have done for me and my friends, because this is such a hard subject for everybody. Like, this is like, nobody wants to talk about this. Everyone wants to go, oh, we're living our lives now. I have children. I'm older than you by like I think a decade maybe. So like, just even bringing this up to my friends, I'm like, hey, we did this crazy thing. We had to go through this crazy thing. I'm sorry to bring it up, but there are still schools like ours, and if we knew, you know what I mean? Like, if I know that there's kids that feel the way that I did when I was 14. I can't ignore that, and I don't think that anybody should. And I did. So when you reached out to me and we talked, it was amazing for me to talk about it, but to realize how insignificant our school was. We were told that ours was the first and ours was the hardest, and that all other troubled teen schools had come from ours, and ours was the ours was the first one. So all the other ones were easier, definitely easier. Ours was the hardest. Ours was the one to be proud that we went to. We had the most knowledge, out of all the schools. That's what we were always told, and I still believed that in a stupid, in a stupid way that they had made us think that. Finding out like how similar. It was the live in La Vida Loca thing. It was when you told me about the Ricky Martin thing, I was like, fuck, it's the same thing. It's not even, I've taken on what you're doing. I want to do what you do, but with the people that I know to tell our story. And I've done 2 interviews. The first one was a staff member that I went through the program with, and he became a family head. Like, there were 4 teams in our school at a time. Each team was pretty much about 25 kids, and he was in charge of like 25 kids, like a little while after I graduated, but only did it for about a year because he said he was miserable, and then he left. But what he does do now is he uses the good parts about the teachings, what you would call the seminars, like the positive parts about the seminars, he uses like in his regular teaching jobs, which is kind of beautiful. If it because I know he's doing it in a positive way, because when I got to talk to him about what his experience at my school was, so the reason why I really wanted to get the stories from the people that I was there with, I believe my school was very different from yours in that yours was flat out abuse. There were maybe a couple of positive parts about yours, but I don't think that it was anything near as pleasurable as my experience. And I mean that, I don't know how to, I don't mean that to be insulting or to lessen what my friends went through, but you went through jail, abuse, like horrible shit. Like it wasn't, and I think that, but I also think that my people talking positively about my school makes it so that schools like yours can even exist.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That because there were the people that were like, oh, there was this school was like that school, and there are people talking good about it. So your school couldn't have been that bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like what you're doing is so important, not only for the representation of like your people and to like talk about it and to heal from it, but then there's so many other levels of it. Like one of my friends that I was trying to talk to and to get doing an interview, I was like, like there it's about like he's like, nobody believes me. You know what I mean? Like I try to tell people what I went through and just nobody fucking believes me. They're like, it couldn't have been that bad, or it couldn't have been at the level that you're trying to tell me, because it takes like so long. Well, while we were there, it takes months and like a year of like really, like you don't even know all the rules for like a year. And then sometimes you're still told shit that you didn't know because there's no rule book. And then there's like that slow clicking of like you really get in the cult, like when you're really policing your own thoughts, not because somebody's telling you to, because you're supposed to because of the system. Like when you're all alone and you walk by a piece of trash and you just pick it up because you're supposed to leave everything better than when you found it, or like, I mean, there's just there's so like the second interview I did was my dorm head from CEDU, and she thinks of it very differently, and I don't think less of her. I think she's a god for thinking of it this way. She's married to somebody who's in the military. She's married to a Marine, so she thinks of CEDU as like, I did the hardest emotional shit that you'll ever have to fucking do. And she wears it like a badge, and I'm so proud of her that she can do that. Like, but I told her, I'm like, that you're rare though, right? Like, not all of us were equipped to wear this shit, like, like with honor, you know what I mean? Like, but she does, and she hates this guy that wrote this book because he went to CEDU, right? He went to CEDU, but he didn't graduate. He was there for like 5 months or some shit, and wrote a fucking book about it. And it's really graphic. But the thing is that I think that because he was only there for a short amount of time, could he actually write this book? Because if you went through the whole thing, there's no fucking way. It would be chapters. It'd be so much. But because he was there for a short amount of time, I think he was able to write down. It was more easy for him to actually be able to explain his small amount of being there, because it just gets so fucking involved the longer you're there. When I started talking to people about doing this documentary, doing my series of documentaries or documentary, when I talked to the third staff member that agreed to do it was the first interview I did. But he was like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Like, like, who is it for? Like, who is it for? Like, and he's like, you need to explain the lingo. You need to explain like all the way, because we'd be talking, and they were like, there's no way that anybody would understand a word we were saying unless they were also there. And so, you know, I'm going to have to go through and like explain all the words, like what bands are, what stepping out of your square means, what's a table, what's a full-time, like what's a profit, like yours is a seminar. Like I know one of your jargons, just one little thing.
Yeah.
But there's like, I mean, there's so much of all that information that I want to explain to people. But
And it's hard when they don't know anything about it.
So yeah, go ahead. So sorry.
No, I was just saying it's hard when they don't know anything about it. Now,
Yeah, it's like, you could spend 15 days just explaining what we're talking about so that in ways that you could understand it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, even like how, when we talked for almost 3 hours, and it was pretty much just trying to explain the differences in our schools. Yeah, I mean, and like, yeah, because I wasn't even, I mean, I told you a little bit of like my story. Did they make you tell your life story over and over again?
Yeah.
How many,
Yeah,
like, did you, like, was it like a
one of the-
weekly thing or a daily thing? Or?
That was one of the first assignments they made us do in orientation, was to write our life story. And then you had to rewrite it.
You had to write it?
Yeah, we had to write it. And it had to be page front, it had to be front and back. And you had to like write from one side of the page all the way to the other side. Like you had to go like behind the line. Like you had to write front and back. And then you had to write like, I think it was 6 to 8 pages for your life story, front and back.
Oh.
So you had to like fill, yeah, they made you fucking like
but
write
like,
that.
you just elaborate the stupidest shit to make it that long. Yeah.
Yeah. You had to like, yeah, I just use like words over and over again. And fucking just like, this went, and then
yeah. No, we had to do writing assignments, but we didn't have like, because when we had to tell our life story, we were supposed to tell it over and over again, and it would just get longer. You'd remember. So like, somebody that had been there at the end, like when I got there, I would hear like people that were in Summit's life story. And that was, they were about to graduate, and their story would be like, 2 days long. Like they'd be like, okay, after 3 hours tomorrow, I'll tell you the rest, and it'd be another 3 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you like it gets shorter, and then you remember stuff, and then you like disclose, you tell more sins that you made, and then those become part of your story, and so but you're supposed to tell it like, I think to like 3 new people a week was the rule. Yeah, I think it was 3 new people a week.
So everybody knew about it on the facility, right?
The telling your story, or your life story? Absolutely. Yes. But there was also a rule that like, if so we had, our thing was reps, which was, it was 3 times a week. It was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were reps from like noon to like 5, or like, from like after lunch, after lunch to before dinner was reps. So it's like 3 to 4 hours ish, and that's when you would like scream at the floor about your childhood or whatever, or like if you were mad at somebody, you were supposed to like bring them into a rap, which meant that you would put a request, you'd put it, write their name on a piece of paper and put it in this box, and you'd say, I brought you on this rap because I'm mad at you for this reason. And if you didn't do like shit like that, then you would get fucked with, and people would be like, you're not working the system, you're not doing this, you're not bringing people in the reps, you're not on the dinner dishes committee, which there was like all these different like responsibilities that you were supposed to volunteer for, and if you didn't, then you were in trouble. So it was like, yeah, there was like a dinner dishes committee and a house committee and a friends committee, like all these things that was like in charge of, like, the friends committee was making sure that the new recruits, like when people were enrolled or whatever, they would have a big sister or a big brother to like show them around and make sure that they were never alone, so they wouldn't split, or and make sure they like were adhering to the rules and stuff like that.
So pretty much a policeman to look over you. Like
yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what was the fuck was I saying?
You were talking about the raps and how doing the raps every day.
Yeah, so we had did you have but like, so we didn't have to write our life story. I don't know why I think that's weird, because I feel like, because with the life story, your life story would change all the time, and they'd want you to make it longer and longer. So I feel like if you had to write your life story, it'd be like fucking 15 million pages long, if in the way that they'd want it. But we had writing assignments, like really graphic shit too, like one that really got me, and it worked, was I was on a table for just not following the program, just not, like screaming at the floor, not working the program or whatever. Yeah, because they had that. I know they had that with you too. And I was on a table, and and Pam Bell, my family had, her team had, she's like, you have to describe, she made me describe the most graphic detail I could about being bulimic. So she's like, I want you to write down what it felt like to lean over the toilet. I want you to, what did the coldness of the toilet, what did it smell like? She's like, I want you to describe in the most graphic detail. So it was like 5 pages long. It was like front and back. She's like, she's like, you have to describe, and like, if it wasn't good enough, I think she made me like do it again. She's like, nope, you didn't do it right, do it again. And it was like, I've never done that ever again in my entire like it did work. Like it did work. To like describe like exactly what it was like to make myself puke when I was 13. Yeah, I mean I never did it again.
Just like use like 50 adjectives to describe the toilet.
Yeah, like and like yeah, I mean you're like like the hot like you're just like mostly like how cold the porcelain was in my hands, like that. I mean, that was all I could really think of. Yeah, because I mean, you don't really like, but yeah, it was just you to remember, you to like just, yeah. I never did it again. I mean, it worked. Yeah. Did any of my friends like reach out to you to do an interview? I think my brother didn't he? His name is Gorgonzola on Facebook.
Yeah, your brother did, but I think something happened where we didn't end up scheduling it. But I did. I think 1 or 2 people reached out to me. I can't.
Okay.
A lot of and I've scheduled a lot of people, so it's kind of hard for me to remember. But I remember. Do you know anybody named Griffin?
Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, he hit me. He did hit me up. I'll have to look my emails and see. I think maybe he might have backed out. I think he might have been like, I'm not quite ready to do it or something.
But it's also like he doesn't think that his experience was important
that's what it was. That's what it was. He said I don't really think that my experience was as terrible or whatnot. And I told him, I'm like, it doesn't matter how bad your experience was or how good your experience was. The point is to get the story out there so people can see.
And that the way that you're doing this, that's never been talked about like that before. Like the way that your attitude of the positive and negative are both coming out, nobody's been doing that. Like even I haven't, you know what I mean? Because I made a group called CEDU Friends in the beginning on Facebook, and that's how we all found each other, right? But then I had to change it to CEDU was wrong, because so many people were getting mad at people talking about the negative and positive parts of CEDU. And I was like, all right, like, I'm not going to lie to people and be like, no, there was no abuses that happened. Everyone was fine there. To the people that had the best time of their lives and the only good time of their lives when they were fucking little kids there. So like, I just, I was like, it's wrong. If you disagree, you're out of the group, because that's why it's a support group. It's not for everybody. That is a support group. But the way that you're doing it, and that everybody's experience is valid, is fucking really good. Because everybody's experience is valid. But that's what's so important, is that like the reason why people look at this and they're like, oh, it can't be that bad, because there are people that say it's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If everyone said it was bad, it'd obviously be bad. But the reason why people don't understand how bad it is because there still are those people that will speak for the school and be like, those people don't know what they're talking about. They were fucked up. They're bad kids. They're crazy anyway. I'm sane. I went through the program and it was the best time of my life, and I still think it was wonderful. Those people are fucking psychopaths. Yeah. They have crazy fucking Stockholm syndrome. And like, even my buddy Adam Egget, who was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and like at the end of him talking about CEDU, Joe Rogan asked him like, would you go back? And he's like, fuck yeah, I'd go back, because like everything was taken care of, and like there were really pleasurable parts about it. And like I was reading in the comments like about that comment that Adam made, and people are like, that is so fucked up that he said that he'd do that. But that is the proof that it was a cult, and because of the Stockholm thing.
Brainwashing works. Brainwashing fucking
Yeah,
works.
it totally fucking works. I did a more of a deep dive on this. There's this girl, or we're all women now. Her name is Lathrop.
Oh, yes, yep.
You know who Lathrop is? So she, I'm
Contact her.
gonna make her my fucking best friend, Lathrop. Watch out, I'm gonna come for you. But she does so much. She like her whole life's work is pretty much exposing CEDU because she got royally fucked by her mom. I think her grandparents like left like a bunch of money to her, and her mom is like claiming that like that money should have paid for CEDU, and it's like trying to sue her own. Something really messed up is happening with her, and like she has to like pretty much prove that like she would have never got. She shouldn't have to pay for her own abuse when she was a child. So it's really messed up.
Which therefore she has to prove that CEDU was bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad. You know
so it's like she has on her page. I think it's just Lathrop Brooke. Is her name.
Lathrop Liebrook. I've actually been.
Right. You're gonna put like, oh, make sure that you put hashtags for CEDU in the description and not just your schools.
Okay. Yeah.
So other people can find like hashtag CEDU schools or or just CEDU, whatever.
I have a hard time with hashtags a lot of the time because of how many schools there are, and you can only hashtag. If I could put all of them, I'd just put all of them. I tried to do that first, So I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna, now that you said that, I hadn't thought of that. I'm gonna just start doing the school that I'm interviewing and make sure the school that I'm interviewing is in there, because usually I just do like a
the general ones you always do. Right. Yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah.
CEDU in there for sure.
But so yeah, she has documented a bunch of stuff, and what's really interesting, she has on a link to her on her website is to an interview with a staff member where he pretty much just flat out says that it was what conditioning, like what they did to us was like corrective. Just like
he had a word for it. He had a specific.
Yeah, it was like he even said it was like like corrective disciplining or but he was even like, don't quote me on this or don't but it's like but like I shouldn't be saying this, but it was I took a picture.
He would know.
Oh yeah, I mean it's because he was above the team members. He was like he was like second above the main guy. But I want to interview. I'm gonna do an interview with him. And I'm very interested in seeing how that goes. But I mean, it was awesome to talk to you and to like be like, I just sent like all my friends. I was like, hey, you remember that place I went to when I was young and that I talk about randomly? Like, I'm talking about for like almost 3 hours here if you want to hear, and like I think a lot of people listen to it because you got a lot of hits.
Yeah, that's a popular one. Yeah.
And like, I mean, it felt good to talk about it and to have like. But what was funny was, some of my friends were like, didn't like a couple things that I said, which I'm not going to repeat because it'll bring, it'll put a pin on those things and make them even more a big thing that I said. But,
well, that's the thing. Not everybody, you can agree to disagree. You don't have, not everybody has to.
I mentioned something that somebody did and they're like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. Somebody might kill themselves again if,
like opinions are kind of harmless.
Yeah, no, it was my bad, but it was just there are just some things you do in life that you shouldn't have to fucking confess to because you're human and you experiment and you realize, oh, that was wrong, I shouldn't have done that, but you shouldn't have to fucking live it for the rest of your life. Do you know what I mean? That's why there are mistakes. That's why there are erasers. And like, especially in cancel culture, like, I mean, I understand if you're a repeat offender, do you know what I mean? If you are a fucking serial rapist, maybe there's a problem, but like, doing one thing every once in a while, a dick pic here and there, you shouldn't go to jail for. It's not like we're all sexual human beings, you know what I mean? It's not a fucking big deal. It's just, you know what I mean? But like at CEDU, they made you feel guilty for fucking everything. So any sort of weird experimentation you did was exploited, and everyone knew about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know about incest stuff, but it's just like, it's just mistakes that happen when you're a fucking little kid. But it's like, because you were little and an adult is like, what did you do with your little brother? Because you're about the same age, and you kind of are like, oh, we might have done something. Everyone knows about it, and you have to talk about it for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's a little, I mean, yeah, it's weird.
They probably try and put you in a box because of it, right?
Oh yeah. And that was something that I kind of wanted to say too, because like, you know, there's stuff that I remember that people did before they went there that they got sent there for that I really wish I didn't remember. But it's just, that was the nature of the place, because they made you talk about it like over and over again. It's just, like,
It's crazy. It's like purposely loading people up with negative and positive energy. Just some of it's positive, like some of it might have been more positive than negative, right? But you're gonna tell people everything about your life. You know what I mean? So but mostly it's gonna be negative shit that happened to the people. And for example, I'm an empath. Okay, I'm just I absorb shit naturally. So it's
I know. I have a friend like that.
It's also gonna be absorbed because I'm an empath. So like it's no wonder people give up eventually.
Do you have Reiki? Do you are you one of the people that have natural Reiki? Do you know what that is?
I know what Reiki is.
I don't know. I have a friend that has it naturally. Like, if she's around people that are sick, or like, she'll leave and start crying and not know why, and it's
Yeah, that's kind of how I am too.
Yeah,
but it's kind of why I don't do. I was doing an episode every day, but that's just too much. So I'll do one a week. I do one.
That's dude. And
that's cool.
You've done like how long have you been doing this for? Like
a year and a half, I think, maybe.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, I don't believe in God, but I would say you're doing God's work. But like, you're like, like, it's even like, like, I met some random kids at a show, and I mentioned something about, I'm starting to do a fucking series about the cult I was in. And like, I thought that I'd said 15 more things that were way more interesting about my life before they said, and they're like, okay, tell me about that. Like,
yeah. It's like, where do I start? It's like, where the fuck do I start?
Right. It's like, it's like, holy shit, yeah. So, no, but it's like, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, do you feel like yours was a cult?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Fucking definitely.
Why? Like, and so, like, that was something else that the staff member, the first staff member that I interviewed, something that he brought up was, that, like, he's like, what is the point? He's like, well, what is the good thing about calling it a cult? You know what I mean? Like, what, like, you know what I mean? Like, what would come from naming it as a cult? And I didn't want to say this outright. I mean, I kind of did, but I was like, okay, so you guys were all following a script. Like, after we talked, like, actually, I made myself go through Brooks fucking, like, all her, like, she has the scripts of all the workshop, the for us, the profits for the seminars. She has, like, and every word that they said to us was scripted. Everything. I thought they ad-libbed, like, most of it. Like, I thought that they were like, this is the general thing that you have to make these kids feel, and, whatever. Every word was scripted in the way that, like, in the script, it'll say, when the kid says any of these 50 things, this is what you say. And it was seriously 50 things. It wasn't like, oh, the kid might say this or this, and this is what you should kind of say. It was so fucking specific that I'm like, okay, so then maybe none of the staff were at fault. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe like a couple, like the really ones that you could tell got off on fucking hurting kids. There were those. But like the ones that were there because they thought they were helping kids, like, it was not their fault. And if the staff will be like, yeah, it was a cult and we were caught in it, then they're not at fault. But like, it's like the guy that I talked to, he was like, I know that like people, I know that was a little, he might have been a little afraid to talk to me because he gets, I'm sure he gets a ton of blame, but he was really nice. Like there were staff members that were really cool, and like that you could tell that like they were there because they thought they were doing something good. But also he explained it to me, like, I was like, what was your experience there? And he's telling me, he's like, like his first day, he walked in and like he said that like one of the staff, like he was like, like something, like all there's and like one of the staff members was draped in children because we all had to physically touch each other. I was like, oh my God, that's the best band name, Draped in Children. But but like like that he's like, it's like he saw this mountain, like all these children were all, and he's like, oh my God, I have to work here. Like it just looks like this is like the most loving place. Do you know what I mean? Like I have to work here. And like, and he was telling me about going through all the stuff that we had to go through. I'm like, okay, can you imagine what that might have been like if you were 10 years younger and you were forced to feel these things? And he's like, I do get that. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah. He's like, he's like, he understood it. But I knew that he was going to, because I know this man. And like, when I was talking to him, I was like, Jamie, I remember what your eyelashes looked like when you would well up with tears. Like I remember how where your eyelash meets your eyelid, there's a white part that's almost like you can't see any pigment. And I remember what veins in his eyeballs would get. Like you know what I mean? Like that's how well I still remember what his eyes, the way they well up and how big it'll get until tears actually fall out of his eyes. That person, I know, that's how well I know him. So like when he's explaining to me, like, we were laughing for most of our interview. It was like an hour and a half almost. I mean, we laughed throughout the whole thing, and like I don't blame him whatsoever. He got there and he's like, it seemed like he's learning so much about himself, whatever, but I'm like, I was trying to get him to understand, like, and I think he does that, like, if you were a kid and you had no choice in doing this, it was really hard and it could have been traumatic, and he does understand that. I was like, what was like maybe fucked up things that you thought, like what were things that that happened that like you were like maybe that that was like kind of traumatic. And it was like there was like there was this one time where we had to pretty much be on all fours and have people put all their body weight like all over us, and we had to push ourselves up. And then a pillow was put in front of us and we had to hit it. And it was the first time it was the first time we were allowed to be violent. You told me you did it for like hours.
Peace process, yeah.
Yeah. And he said that he's like that he thought was fucked up that we did that. And I was like, okay. So it's like, it was cool to hear that, like somebody that I went through the program with, that like he did see that there were bad things about it, going through it, even, as somebody that was for it. Like, and he also said, like, so, like, he's like, there's, so much, like, negative things about it, and it's hard for somebody that, was a staff member and saw this as a positive thing for helping kids. And, like, he did leave. Like, he knew, like, he was only at, like, the team head for, like, a year. And like, he said he was miserable. You know what I mean? So like it tells me that like he knew that it wasn't good. And I said, like, I'm like, and you could tell, like the upper staff, like that they were getting off on it. And he was like, yeah, so like it was awesome. Like for my first interview is definitely gonna be like the season fucking finale of my series. It's definitely not gonna be the first one. And I could do it like you do it. Like I thought that I could just record an interview, put it out, record an interview and put it out the way you are, but I'm not going to be able to do it like that because I want to collect as many of the opinions beforehand and then show them and then have other people see why those people feel that way. Because
like a collage of all these different opinions in one video. You're saying,
yeah,
okay. So they can see, all these people on one bit, okay.
Like I ask things like, what was the song you can't ever hear again in your life? You know what I mean? Or like, because they listen to music over and over again. It's Imagine for everybody. so far by John Lennon. But yeah, like, or I'm trying to ask like specific, like, what was the good, the really good thing, the really bad thing, the funny, that the hardest you laughed when you were there, and then like the saddest thing, like the really extreme polarizing parts for everybody, and then yeah, like, compile that, and I'll probably show like uh I think I mean, see, the thing is, it's so, we just talked, nobody was listening. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so that, because I'm going to explain, all the technical stuff beforehand. So I'll probably be like, this is about this subject. And then, like whoever talked about that. I mean, it's going to be a fucking lot of work, but yeah, it's just, it seems like it's like really like people really like Lathrop is the only fucking one that's really doing this besides Liam. Like Liam was this guy who I interviewed with for his documentary that is already on YouTube and has like a bunch of.
I'm gonna see if I'm gonna go back into my messages and see if I can't get Lathrop to come on the podcast. I'm pretty sure we were talking about it already.
I'm sure she will, but the thing is, she's busy doing hers.
Yeah,
I asked her to do it too. She said she will, like in a month or two, maybe.
I think that's what she told me. Is it later?
Yeah, she was even in my state really recently, like doing photography work for her book. So like she's super busy with doing this. Like,
yeah.
We love you, Lathrop. Yay!
Yeah, shout out to Lathrop for sure.
Yeah, like she's really nice too. But yeah, like it's not like like she sent me, all the links are, there's like all the profits and everything are on her website. But she actually sent me the PDFs of the actual. So I didn't like I have the files of all of them now. So she's like, you send these to whoever you want. This is not my fucking information. Everybody needs to have this. She's about exposing it. And like, if there's anybody out there, if you have any paperwork whatsoever with CEDUs, anything that your parents sent you or you sent your parents, anything about CEDU, find a way to get it to Lathrop, and so she can put it online, because this is the process of like, she has like, just all the correspondence between her parents and herself and other students as well, and like even like the lists of the clothes we were not allowed to have and bring, or just like everything that every piece of paper that like that you have ever gotten from CEDU, if you have it, find a way to get to scan it and give it to Lathrop so she can put it online.
And I will link Lathrop's website in the description below. So when people are watching this video, it'll be in the description.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to thank you. Like I mean, this is like, it's super therapeutic for me, because it's something that is still like in my head all the time. But like, yeah, people even I just sent out like another just like Facebook chat with some people, like asking when do you want your Skype, whatever. And even like people fight about it a lot. Like there's a lot of arguing with me and my friends, because like people will not understand what people are saying, and like it's such an emotional subject, and we were there fucking in the late 90s, and we're still super upset about it and super emotional about it. So yeah, your whole thing about making it so that like, to document how different people's opinions on it are it's so important, because it shows why your cat was, I feel like your cat was just looking right at me. Is it shows like why, why we're hard to believe, because the people that are still like, no, it was a great place and like you should send your kid there, those are the people that make it so that we're not believable.
Yeah.
So it's, and I'm not saying that, I'm not saying bad about those people. Like I want those people to talk, but like, they, like someday hopefully they'll understand that either they had an easy ride there, or like they're just not letting themselves see how bad it was. But like,
or there's also those people that just jumped right into the, like, didn't even need to be brainwashed. Like, I know a few people that went to Spring Creek that just jumped right into the program day one and just never got in trouble. Like, but also there was favoritism as well.
See, I fucking totally fucking right about that. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's 100% correct. The favoritism. I didn't even fucking think about that. But you are so right about that.
Yeah, some kids would just get along better with like the family fathers would be the heads of each family or whatever, and some people were buddy with the family father, and I eventually got buddy with the family father, but it took me a long ass time. But some people came in day one, and just the family father would either take pity on them or something like that, or there was a couple of instances where people that like were really high up, like that maybe own the property, would even favorite people when they came in. So
Right.
they take them off on special trips and give them extra
Oh.
just shit that nobody else would get a chance to get and
I thought
stuff
I
like
lost
that.
you
So
for a second.
sure.
It was lagging for 1 second. Hold on. I think we're caught up now. The internet was
Yeah.
lagging for a second. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
there were the special cases. Yeah, there definitely were. And then that I think that my best friend there, Jackson, I think that he was one of them. I think that because he was the funniest fucking person I've ever met in my whole life. I just mentioned to my second interviewer, I mentioned his name and how funny it was, and we both almost started crying because of how funny he was and that nothing was ever that funny again. Because he was just so funny. And like it took him, I think, maybe even like 10 years longer than it took me to realize how bad it was there, because he was so loved there. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing, and not in the way that like he never got love like that. Everybody loves this guy, but it was the specialness. There was a specialness about CEDU. They made us think that we were special, and it was crazy too to look at through the Prophet scripts because and it'll say like there's a lot of times where they'll play a song like 2 times or 3 times. They'll play like one song and then another song 2 times, and like it would say like in the scripts like make sure that when they hear the way we were or when we hear like yes, somewhere we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving somewhere. Like there's a place for us. Like the world doesn't understand us. There's a place for us someday. There'll be a time for us. An open air, wait for us somewhere. Yeah, like this is our somewhere. Like you have to make the kids feel like in this room at 4:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like this is the place they're supposed to be, and this is the only place they will ever belong. And like it says that in the fucking script. Like that is like that you have to play that song until you are sure that all those kids feel that. Like it's really weird. Like yeah, like that was just very fucking weird to read that. But yeah, it's so yeah, how many fucking schools are there? How many schools?
I honestly, to be completely honest with you, I think there's still a running list being updated to this day. I think we even know how many of these.
Because it's also like, is there like a fucking squad? Do we need to make a Scooby-Doo van and fucking, like, like how, like, do we need to start kidnapping kids out of schools? Like, do we need to
yeah, taking them back home.
I like take back the night in another way.
Just drop them back off at their parents' house and be like, figure it out a different way.
I'm feeling it. It's better this way. We promise you. We are living proof.
This is not the way.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, it's like, it's hard. Yeah, like, I mean, my second interviewer, my dorm head, she's like, yeah, and that's why schools like that couldn't be out there today. I was like, they still are though, and she's like, I don't believe you. And I'm like, I don't want to be like, do you really think that I'm lying about this? You know what I mean? But she's like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, I didn't want to be like, I'll show you, when this comes out, that I'm not lying. But like, she really didn't think that they still existed. She's like, there's no way it could. Is what she's like. There's just no way that could exist today with the internet and everything. I'm like, so
you can't make this shit up. Like
yeah, and you know what it was that when I told her that you were Ricky Martin, she was like, okay. She was like, all right. And that's what. And seriously, just that. I'm like, that's the only connection we found so far, but it was enough for us to know that it was the same fucking flavor. This is the same main ingredient. Do you know what I mean? It's old Coke, it's new Coke. It's the same fucking thing. So yeah, it's
So with the profits, how you were saying that it was scripted, I staffed seminars, and the whole thing has a specific order it's supposed to go in. There's and I even, now that I'm thinking about it, I even recall, and I may be mistaken, so anybody that staffs seminars at Spring Creek Lodge.
what does that mean, you staffed seminars? That mean that like you were like an older student? Does that mean that like you were helping the newer students go through it because you would get points for it, basically?
After you got through after you attained level 4, which was essentially you became pretty much.
Oh, I lost you. I lost you. You said you level 4, then you became essentially what?
A policeman to the lower levels, like you'd consequence the lower level, and at that point you could staff seminars.
Older student.
Yeah, you could staff seminars, and you would help, like, quote unquote, help the students through them, which I actually did, like, do my best to help. Like, when everybody else was screaming at them, I'd be like, just keep going, you just get through this.
I did the same fucking thing. I did the same thing, yeah.
But there's a structure to it, and also the facilitator, the person that ran the seminars, they would have these huge, thick booklets where they would have information on every single fucking student there. They would know.
How many people were in your seminars?
How many? When I first got like 150 to 200 in each seminar, I think.
I told people
at least 100.
I was making that up.
At least 100
people. I can't even see that. Like I can't even. How many staff members are running it?
There's a facilitator, and then the rest are there's like 2 staff members that accompany, like, just for security, and then the rest are junior staff, which are people that are level 4 or higher that run the seminar.
Really was like kids running the school. Yours was 100% kids running the school.
Well, not entirely, but yeah, like the kids help.
But yeah, but that's it, because that's even more so than mine was, because like. That never had like even when like I went through the children's profit again, which is the second one. So I went through that profit again, but I had to go through it as a lower level student. Do you know what I mean? But you just go through it again to do the therapy again because I had a traumatic childhood. So it was like what you're supposed to do kind of thing, you know? But that level, that what you're saying, we did not do that. I think it's really fucked up that I kind of think it's cool. But I mean, yeah.
It can like for people like me that tried to like actually help people, like it can be, but for people that would abuse that power, which did happen a lot, they would like pick on kids, consequence them for no reason just because they didn't like them, or they'd point them out in a seminar just to get them chosen out of the seminar, so they have to wait months and months to come back to the next one. Like, there's favoritism. There was people that abused the power. There was.
Oh, right, because your thing is that you had to go through it, and if you didn't do it, you just kept on waiting until you'd go through it. They would keep you back, right?
Yeah, you had to make it through. So if you could get chosen out for some bullshit, or just you could even get chosen out for not talking. Like, that's why when I realized what the game was, I just was the first person to stand up in these seminars. Like, this is what happened to me. Out of the way, bam.
Right, because you actually had shit happen. Yeah, because you told me, yeah.
And for some people, they didn't.
Right. Like when you were like, I was lucky that I had shit to talk about, like, and that was 100% the truth, yeah. Because you know what? The girl my second interviewer, she didn't. She was one of the people that didn't. But she never, I thought that maybe she was going to tell me that she had lied. Oh, go ahead, if you need to.
No.
I thought that maybe because one friend of mine, right after I graduated, she called me and she was like, everything I said that I had an eating disorder, I had made up because I got sent there for no reason. I figured out that I better make some shit up or else they're just never gonna believe me and fuck with me for the rest of my life, rest of my time there. Because she saw it happen to other people, so she was like, oh, I had an eating disorder because she listened to enough about it to know how to lie about it. And the girl that I went with, she was like her grandparents were raising her, and like she just like got like she was just not even like a troubled kid. I just think they didn't know how to talk to her. And so they just sent her there because they like that was a lot. That's a lot of money, and so it's probably going to be a good school. And like I think the staff realized that. I don't think that it really messed with her, but like they made her strong. Like they made her, you know what I mean? Like but in the way that like a slave will be strong after you whip it 1,000,000 times a day for 2.5 years, you know. But yeah, she was like, you know, she doesn't have trauma though. Like she got stronger from it, and that's fucking amazing.
It's not, but then also with that, there's brainwashing in that in itself too, because if a person doesn't have trauma and they start saying that they have trauma, you say that shit enough, you're actually going to start believing that you actually have that trauma.
Right,
So
yeah.
That can.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they were doing that. I wonder if they were sort of doing that too.
But she even talked about the favoritism, and I didn't even really think about it until you called it that specific thing. But you're right though. She did talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people would just have, you know, nobody had an easy ride, quote unquote, right?
Right.
But some people were like less shitty than others, you know. Definitely.
No, I know one person that had an easy ride, but
oh yeah, there's like
one person that just had a flat out easy ride, but
there was also people that would come back to the program, and those people always got favorited right away because they'd already graduated. So they would have to start
you mean like the alumni that would visit, like alumni visiting?
No, they got sent back, so they had to do the program over again. There was a couple of people like that. They start level 1, 0 points, but they're always favorited. There was not one person that happened to that they weren't favorited, meaning that they could get levels really quick. They would always, you know, be able to level up right away. And
so it was like going to rehab. It was like going back to your rehab and just like coasting through because you already knew the program. You just have to like make the fucking check marks and you leave again.
Yeah.
How long would they be in there for?
They'd have to graduate again sometimes.
So like that could be, what was your, like if you did all the rules, it was how long?
If you had a perfect program, supposedly you could do it within a year, but I never saw anybody do that. So like probably 1.5 years is your safest bet. So at least 1.5 years.
Wow. Yeah. Fuck.
Maybe a year if you're favorited. You know, you might be able to pull that off if you were favorited.
Yeah. No, yeah, there was one girl that she got pulled out after being there for about a year. She fucked up, did drugs, whatever, and then she came back and her group had like gone on a bunch and she had to start over again. And we were all just like, oh man, like it sucks. We just felt so bad for her. She just had to start all over again. And she knew how bad she fucked up because she had been there long enough to know how bad it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the interview that has been with somebody that has how do I say this? Like, who's your interviewee that had just left something? You know what I mean? Like who's your youngest, I guess, interviewer?
Oh, who's my youngest? Oh,
yeah,
shit.
you know what I mean? Like, who's most recently left, you know, out of all your people you've interviewed?
Who was the youngest when they got sent to a program?
Yeah.
Okay, I think
who's the most recent graduate of a program that you've interviewed?
I'd have to look back and I'd have to find that. I'd have to find out for you.
Would it be like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 4 years ago, or 20? You know, like, you know what I mean?
I've had like one or two people on that were like 3 or 4 years maybe.
Oh, okay.
Like pretty recently. Like I've had. But usually, you see, the thing with people like that is that they haven't really even comprehended what's just happened to them, really.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not saying that that's everybody. Maybe some people have comprehended and realized that it's fucked up or whatnot. But
that's fucking really important too. Yeah.
Years to really realize, you know, that this has affected me long term.
Yeah, and that's something my dad brings up. He's like, well, you never said CEDU was wrong until like you got all messed up, like reading stuff online and like talking to other people. And it's like, for Christ's sake, are you kidding me? Is that really you're gonna say? I'm like, what about people that were molested and it takes them 10 years to say about something about it? It's not because it didn't happen. Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. It's crazy. Brainwashing works, and it's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's why they do it, you know? Because it works.
Yeah. Yeah, so he doesn't believe me it's a cult because he's like, there had to be you didn't follow a leader. And like we kind of did. His name was Mel Wasserman, was our founder, and then like our like the head of the whole house was Bill Valentine. He was kind of our leader, and he's like, "Well, you didn't fuck each other." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, we were kids, but there was fucking going on. I heard." And then like he's like, "But in culture, you're allowed to leave whenever you want." But that was the whole thing with CEDU, was that we were the top of a mountain. There were no locks on any doors except for the administration building and where the phones were. Like there was no locks on any of our dorms or the buildings, or there was no lock to the gate. Like we could walk around and leave, but like there,
getting down.
There was nothing anywhere. We're the top of the mountain. The closest phone is 5 miles away, and we had no money on us to make a call. Paris Hilton was the only one that really successfully did it when she broke into a building and called her limo and split after being there for like 2 months.
That's crazy.
Like how, like I have to like research, and we have to figure out which ones are the other ones so that I can like show other people like, hey, these are. But I've even thought about like fucking going, like just doing a road trip where I try to tour and like just film the outside of the schools and like try to talk about the people that in the town, because they have fucking
like
stories.
like freelance journalism, like just kind of journaling your journal.
There's no way that anyone would know. You know what I mean?
You could just say you're auditing.
Right. No, I mean,
just say you're auditing.
Or just be like, I could just totally be honest. Be like, I went to a weird school. I'm seeing if this school is like my school. Are these things happening? Because if they are, this school is fun. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't want this in your town. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm just honest with people. I mean,
Definitely probably be careful with that, though, because there are people with a lot of money in this, and they
that's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, there is the whole. You're right. Listen to one podcast.
Get people following your car back home. And
right. That's what somebody else told me too. But like I listened to one podcast where the guy talked about where he found out a lot of stuff about the town that our school was in, called Running Springs, and that like the police were totally in on it, and that like and that also the reason I don't know if there's like Daniel Ewan and 2 other kids that were never found missing from CEDU. And that there's a cop really recently from LA that has been like, hey, San Bernardino police, why the fuck have you never been looking for those kids? And they're like, So she's the only one that's been doing something about it, and it's fucking within the last year. It's like the first time, like, and it's like, she's like, why is this even a cold case? It's not even a cold case. Like, they never did any investigating for these kids, like whatsoever. So it's
have they given a reason for why they didn't investigate?
No, they didn't even give a reason. They're just like, no, they just didn't give a reason. They're like, I don't know. They just don't like. And so she's like, why? She's trying to figure out why.
There's this interview with the sheriff of Thompson Falls, which is the closest town to where Spring Creek Lodge, where I went, was. And there's an interview where they asked him, because there was a warrant issued by a judge to get a girl out of that program, right? And this sheriff knew about the warrant, but didn't act on it right away. He just said, so he didn't act on it for like a couple days after or something like that. And then they asked him, why didn't you act on it right away? And he's like, I don't have to answer that. He flat out said, I'm not going to answer that question. Like, he's completely bought off. You can tell he's bought off.
Yeah. No, and this podcast too that I listened to, they brought up something else, and that like there were there were services that you would, if you were a parent and your kid split, you would get a bill for the services you find your fucking kid.
Yeah.
And it was like there was just like these, guys that knew, like, pretty much would figure out, like, because they would pay the people on the fucking mountain, like, oh, if you see a fucking kid, we'll give you money to fucking bring them back. You'd like, and that your parents would get charged for it.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was insane. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all about the money for a lot of those people.
Oh, yeah, and that's what even the staff member said. The first staff member that I interviewed, and he's like, it really felt like they were just trying to get beds in, like heads in beds. And he's like, and that's when that's when he left. He's like, I just couldn't, But yeah,
well, at least he left.
Yeah, no, and he, I love him so much, and like, yeah, like he was really a really good guy. Like, he used to fucking throw me in the snow. We'd be walking, he'd be like, "Oh, Kari Bun's going in the snow," and he'd just throw me into a snowbank all the time. It was just me. It wasn't like he did this to all the kids. He would always throw me in the snow. But like, he was just really fun and really like a really nice guy. And I'm like super glad that he did an interview with me. It was like my first one. But yeah, like, he didn't have a bad experience there because, he's a staff. He was there for like 4 years. But I could tell that, he was getting wise to the, that we didn't all have a great time. It might not have been, but it was like, I think that it might have been new information that I didn't find him in any way at fault. That, and like, he was like, why would it be important to call it a cult? You know what I mean? And like, that's why it is important, because, like, I know maybe he doesn't want to think that he was tricked because he uses a lot of the teachings, which were good teachings, and that's why it's complicated and confusing. So he uses those teachings in his life still today with kids. And like, there's so many things in that school that I still think about constantly, like the positive things. Like, I think I told you, like, I was getting my tires changed at a BJ's, and I found our Bible, which is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and I was reading it and smiling. And I texted Jackson. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm reading The Prophet, and it's making me smile. How is this possible?" And he's like, "It's a wonderful book." You know what I mean? Like, we learned how to live our life by it, and we still do. It's, you know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make it a bad book because it was used to, like, hurt us. It's still a good book. God, that made me think that, like, that's how people talk about the Bible. Oh, that's so gross. Oh, so, hey, I hate Christianity.
I'm not a big fan of religion either, but
it's so gross. So, Chris O'Dowd, the cop from Bridesmaids, and the IT crowd, he said something awesome. He said, hopefully one day, religion will be like racism. Isn't that awesome? Like,
yeah.
just totally taboo bullshit, like, get rid of it. And I thought that was so cool. But yeah, like thank you for fucking, like, like, talking to me for so long and, like, not giving me a limit and just letting me, like, spew out whatever I needed to say. And then, like, I tried to get, like, a lot of people that, like, talk to you, and they're like, "I don't know that guy, it's like a lot of different schools," and, like, and they're like, "But I would talk to you." And I was like, fuck, I was like, well, then I guess I have to do this, because, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if we're gonna, like, I don't, like, I feel like, I don't know, like, yours was so much fucking worse, you know what I mean? And we think that there was nothing worse. Like, yours was worse. Like, I don't know if you agree, but I think that yours was worse.
I wasn't at yours, so I have no way.
Yeah, no, but just like the couple of things I had heard, like the length of time, and like that they kept you locked up. Like, we were at least in our brains, you know what I mean, not institutionalized, because there were fields and we were allowed to walk, and where there's nature, you know what I mean? Like, we were allowed to be free in the wilderness, do you know what I mean? Like, we weren't locked up at night and stuff like that. But like, the fact that you had a magnetic fucking key attached to you for how long, or, like, that's insane.
Some floors, yeah.
That's
and then
insane.
You couldn't
like,
look out the window either. There was like bars on the window. And then if you looked out the window, you got a Category 4 run plans. They were like, "Yo, you're thinking about running."
God damn it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we could see outside in between when we were going from building to building, but you still had to, like,
and
walk.
that's even weirder, that, like, you guys weren't allowed, like, that you couldn't make eye contact with each other when you would walk by, like, all that stuff. Like we had, like, if we were, getting in trouble with somebody, we would be on. Did you have bands where, like, you would pretend that somebody didn't exist?
Yeah, it was called Black Cloud.
Oh.
On Black Cloud, then you couldn't look at other people, you couldn't talk to people, couldn't talk to anyone.
Just everybody or somebody specific?
Everybody.
Oh, so you didn't have it, like, with just one specific people, just everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
They put you on Black Cloud, and that means you could only talk to staff members.
If bands were, like, about specific people, like, we would be on bands from, like sometimes, like, if you were newer and you were getting a lot of trouble, you'd be on bands from everybody, like, Quest and below, which meant that you weren't allowed to talk to anybody that had been there for less than a year. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you could only talk to older students so that like you would be doing the right stuff and you wouldn't be contracted up, which means that you wouldn't be like trying to break the rules with the younger kids that weren't in the program.
Yeah, we had sort of something like that. Like when you came in level 1, you had to, so the person you're talking to had to equal 3. So you had to talk to level 2 or above. And so it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Also,
yeah.
also, if like brothers and sisters went to the same program and they couldn't talk to each other. If cousins went to the same program, they couldn't talk to each other. If you were friends outside the program, you couldn't talk to each other.
The whole program? The entire program?
Yeah, if you were friends with somebody outside the program and then you came into the program, just happened to be in the same program, you couldn't talk to each other.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot to fucking ask. Ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially if it's like your brother or sister, you know,
But
somebody.
like you were like sectioned off because there was like so many different fucking factions in your fucking school though. So it was like
There was 4 lower level families and then 2 upper level families when I got there.
Yeah.
Or wait,
At our school, like that happened.
There was actually 6. There's actually 6. There was 2 girls and there was 4 boys lower levels, and then there was 2 upper level families.
Oh, for the girls and the boys, or was it mixed by then?
It was mixed, but there was boys and girls in the upper levels.
Right.
So there was Dream and there was Hope on the upper levels.
Oh, that's funny.
I was in Dream.
So it wasn't like by sticks. Like ours was like Pam's team and Martin's team, and it wasn't. It was like by a name. How many staff were there staff members assigned to certain teams, or were they
Staff members assigned to each family? Yeah, there was like.
Oh, so yours was called family?
Yeah, so there was Honor Family, Respect Family, Quest Family, and Genesis Family for boys. And then for girls, it was Integrity and Passion, I think. Yeah, Passion and Integrity. And then on the lower levels. And then on the upper levels, it was Hope and Dream, but that would be mixed. Like when you got in the upper levels, you could actually talk to girls in group. Like you couldn't talk to them outside a group. But
you're telling me that you didn't talk to a girl for the first, like for the first whole time that you were there?
Couldn't even look at them.
You didn't tell me that. That's a whole other fucking level. Holy shit. So like how long? So it's like a year, probably a year and a half or something?
No, I rebelled for the first year. So about a year and a half in was when the first time I got like any sort of interaction with a female.
Wow.
But that was only in a group setting.
Yeah.
You have a group and you could like talk to each other and stuff, but yeah, shit was crazy.
Did they make you touch each other? Was there like a lot, like we called it smushing, where we had to like if I was sitting in a chair, there'd be somebody in my lap and on both my side, like you were touching everybody, like all the time. Men and boys and girls though too.
You couldn't touch anybody. They'd probably give you like a fucking sexual act or something. Constantly.
Even like were you allowed to hug people?
No, I mean in seminar you could touch people. In the seminar you could touch people. Wow. So all the time you could fucking touch people, and then that's what like at the end of the seminar, especially when you're staffing, like everybody was allowed to come up to you and like give you a big group hug and like tell you how you affected them and like did a thanks for being there for me, so that shit was powerful. But like outside of that, you couldn't really touch people like that.
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing is very different from, and I wonder why they did. Like, what the
and I don't, you know what, and you know what it has got to be.
Like,
you know, if you've been to a hospital, and that's how there's a no touching rule at hospitals. You know, like psych wards, like there's no that's a big thing, like no touching. I wonder if that's why that like for legal reasons they didn't want that to be complicated. Do you know what I mean? Like, or maybe make the seminars even more fucking, you know, like crazy is that's the only time that you're gonna get fucking physically touched. Like that might be it too.
Or maybe it's some sort of like Reiki thing where they're trying to like get all of your energy, like getting each other's energy or something.
Right.
Like
yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. I don't
know. They would like not let you just like, yeah. They
just destroy your autonomy and like your fucking like who you were before you came to the program or who you thought.
Yeah. Yeah. They did that too. But yeah, but the no, like not being able, not being able to touch it all, like that's crazy. But even like, well, I mean, I guess the boys don't really touch each. I don't know. Yeah, like at our school, like when I got there, I did know that, like, so, like, the smushing was a big deal, but, like, I do realize that they made it less sexual. Like, you couldn't if you were a man, you couldn't have a girl sitting in between your legs anymore. Or, like, but, like, if I was lying down, like, a guy could put his head on my belly. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that wasn't sexual, but, like, yeah, there was, like, certain things that, like just a couple of weird ways that meant them, like, girls and boys weren't allowed to touch or whatever, but, like, it was still super inappropriate.
It feels to me like it's literally just straddling that line between grooming and, like, like, not okay, but, like, a acceptable, I guess, act.
No,
So,
and that's also the thing though too, is, like, that's something that, like I was a nanny, and I'm, like, very interested in the ways that we teach our children about who they're allowed to hug. And that's a very new concept of, like, if you find your uncle or your grandpa creepy with the shit on the sides of his mouth and you think he smells, you shouldn't have to hug him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he might love you, but that is your body, and you should not have to hug that person if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's, like, that's a whole new concept with kids today. And, like, so, like, thinking about, like, CEDU is, like, they forced you to physically touch people. Like you, like, because, it was, like, therapeutic to feel, like somebody else, like somebody else is, like, like, but I don't know, but, like, they really forced, like, you had to, like, there was no, like, I don't want to be touched. If you were like, I don't want to be touched, you were a bitch. You were brought into a rap because like, why don't you want to be touched? Like, like, that's part of being human. And it's like, I mean, yeah.
Was there anybody that, like, freaked out, like, had a panic or anxiety attack because they just, like, because some people that I know, like, in my personal life, like, if you touch them, they will have a panic attack.
I'm thinking, I have one person in my mind right now. Yeah. She was in my group, and she's my great friend, but I do remember, like, she did have a hard time with smushing, and I have to ask her about that. But I do remember her being like, no, I'm not fucking touching you. Like, I do remember her, like only doing it with, like, her best friend or, like, whatever. And, like, I think she was, like, the exception to the rule somehow, but she was a fucking badass. Like, she was pretty, her career at CEDU was pretty fucking cool. But but yeah, she pretty, like, she never, I just remember her being like, no, I'm not fucking doing, like, but, like, her being an older student and being like, no, I'm not doing that shit. And she was a fucking gangster though. But yeah, like, there was one time, there was something, like, that I refused to do that I got shit for. Like, the first time, then I talked to my friend that was a staff member, my first interview about it. Like, when we got there, the first, like, seminar that we had, it was called The Truth. And to break the icebreaker, it was called the icebreaker. The first thing they do in The Truth is the 3 staff members that are running it come into the room dressed up like hair metal band members, right? Like they're in Whitesnake or fucking Motley Crue, and I think they played fucking Quiet Riot or Come On Feel the Noise, or they fucking played, like, Bang Your Head. I don't know. They played some 80s song and played air guitar. And then what we had to do was, there were 3 groups, and, like, everybody had to play air guitar. I'm a fucking musician. I've been playing guitar since I was 10 years old. There's no fucking way I'm gonna sit up there and pretend to play fucking Rat or Quiet Riot like it's fucking fun.
It's like, give me a fucking guitar.
This is so stupid. Like, they were like, oh, like, pretend to play. I've never played air guitar in my entire life. I've never been at a show and played air guitar. Like, that's the stupidest thing. It's like, okay, so, like, they're like, I'm like, they're, like, yelling at me because I refuse to do it. And I'm like, dude, you asked me not to do that today, I wouldn't play air guitar. But, like, so, yeah, like, so there was, like, like, my entire time at CEDU was, like, because the whole thing about being at CEDU is you're only allowed to talk about something once you've been through it. So what happened to me is, after the new kid, it was the first thing. So after they would come out of The Truth, everyone would make fun of me again for not doing the fucking air guitar at the Truth. Oh, and is it funny that Kari Bunn didn't do the icebreaker in the Truth Puffy or whatever? She didn't want to do the fucking, I think it was called the Battle of the Bands or something. I think it was. I think it was called the Battle of the Bands, and it was like air guitar battle. I don't know. It was like stuff that's fucking disgusting. I'm not doing it. It's so stupid. But I got made fun of it for forever. And another thing I didn't do was we had Paul Bunyan Day once, and we did things like a competition of like log cutting competition, and we were like all supposed to wear like jeans and like a flannel t-shirt and our work boots, and like we did like outdoorsy, I don't know, like feats of strength with like wood, like cutting wood and like chopping wood and stupid shit like that. And we did a tug of war over a giant pit of mud. And the point of it was, at the end of the day, everyone was supposed to just jump in the mud and get dirty and whatever. So they made a giant pit of mud. Everyone's in this mud. I'm not in the fucking mud. And they're like, Kari, get in. I was like, no, I'm not freely jumping in and choosing to get everything I own in the disgusting fucking mud that all of you have been in. There's no way I'm getting in. And I went to my dorm and I got in so much trouble. They're like, you need to come back and just go in the mud. I was like, there's no goddamn way that's fucking happening. And I'm like, I swear to God, if I'm in trouble for this, I will fucking, there's no way I'm gonna get in trouble for this. It is unsanitary. I'm not gonna be in trouble for not getting staph infections. Fuck you all people. But I was really supposed to be in trouble for not getting in the mud pit at Paul Bunyan Day and just going to my dorm. It was and I think I was considered an older student at that point too. But I was like, there's no fucking way I'm choosing to get into a giant mud pit with 100 people. No, it's just not happening.
What the fuck? Damn.
But it was also it was a fun thing. It wasn't something that it wasn't, it was just supposed to be a fun experience or whatever we were supposed to do. So it was somewhat voluntary or whatever. But yeah. I remember another thing too was my friend who I interviewed, she remembered it. So she had gone through she worn this one t-shirt. So every summer we would have the Summer Olympics, which would be there would be a couple of different teams, and we would all, compete each other in basketball or whatever. It was for fun. Did you guys have the fucking Summer Olympics too? Are you fucking kidding me?
It was called that, but we had, fuck. What was it called? Spirit Month, I think.
Really?
Spirit Week or Spirit, it was Spirit Week, I think. Or something Spirit, I think.
Right.
But it happened once a year, and we'd play flag football, and then there was this, when I was there, if you were, I was on the lower levels, but I was level 3 or higher, so I was able to take guitar lessons. There was a staff member there who's actually hella cool. I fucking, shout out to you, Justin, fucking love you, man, but he fucking taught a small class of fucking people guitar, and that's where I first learned how to play guitar.
Really? What guitar was it? What song did you learn?
I just made a song.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah, I wrote a song. And
the first song you learned how to play, you wrote?
Yeah, I wrote it.
You're fucking awesome.
Yeah, I wrote it. Yeah, so we did stuff like that. We played flag football. We played, I think, ultimate frisbee, maybe. We had a basketball competition. There was a singing competition, I think. But it happened once a year, and one team was yellow, and I think the other team was green, if I remember correctly.
That's what we had. Yeah, I have a blue shirt downstairs. Yeah, I think that we had this blue, yellow, green, and red. I think were our teams.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so fucking fun.
And the whole facility would compete, I think, and
yeah, and if you had you'd be in our group, well, we probably have this person strong at shot put, or they'd be people would try to compete, or it was really funny to see if any girls could do a fucking pull up. No. The answer to that is always no girl can do a pull up. Just so sad thing for our fucking gender, but yeah, no,
so
you see all the guys be able to do 1, 2, at least 2. No female ever. No, not even close. Never.
That is hilarious.
I know, it was really funny, but it was without fail. So my dorm head, she brought up the fact that when I'd gotten there, so her first Summer Olympics, she wore the shirt that they gave her, because they gave you a shirt to wear for the thing, for all your competitions or whatever, so you know a team or whatever. So her shirt, she wore that to all her wilderness expeditions. So she had this shirt that was like had all these holes in it or whatever, and she like gave it to me. You know what I mean? It's like she like handed it down to me. You know what I mean? It's like, a legacy, like a gift. Like, oh, you should have this. I'm giving it to you. I wore it, on my like maybe you can wear it on, on the outside of your clothes or whatever for your wilderness trip. So I wore it stupidly. I wore it. It wasn't like, it didn't show anything. It didn't like show my bra or anything. It just like had a couple of holes. Like I think there's like a hole here and like a couple holes on the bottom. And I wore it like to the house. Like I wore it like, to like I was gonna wear it like for the day. I got screamed at like immediately. Like I was like, you you need to go back to the fucking your dorm and change right away. And I was like, what are you talking about? And and then I was taken to a rep and like of course brought to tears, but for like ashamed, like how like you're a whore. Why would you even think that you could wear something with holes in it? Like you're like, I mean, just, and I totally forgot about it. And I was like, oh, I wish I could sell it. Cause I was like, cause she brought up the shirt and I was like, oh yeah, you did give me that shirt. I wonder where is that? Why don't I have that? And she's like, because they definitely made you throw it away because you got reamed in a rep. Like I got like for wearing that shirt. I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that. Fuck yeah. It was like, and I don't even, because I thought that we weren't. I'm like, but weren't we not allowed to give? Because there's a whole. You had to have your shares privilege. Like, oh wait, like if I had chapstick, and like you had chapped lips, if you didn't have your shares privilege, you couldn't use it, or even like a hairbrush, or like, and you couldn't share things that were your personal item. And I think it was because if that person heard it or like misused it, then there could be an argument. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it was after you were in challenge, you could ask for your shares privilege and you would get approved for it. It wasn't just something that came with it. Yeah, so I didn't remember. I'm like, how were you allowed to give it to me though? Because I didn't have my shares privilege because I was in Discovery. She's like, no, you could give things to people. And I was like, oh, you could? I think now I remember that we could because I crocheted my first blanket that I ever crocheted. I gave Jackson for his birthday, and I didn't get in trouble for it. And I always thought I was always wondering. I'm like, how was I able to give it to? I think you were allowed to give things to people, but you weren't allowed to share things. So, the no touching thing with you, and then I didn't realize you weren't allowed to. You didn't talk to or see a girl for like over a year.
I mean, you'd see him like in passing, but you weren't supposed.
Yeah, but that's not the fucking same thing. I mean? Yeah,
like looking,
That makes. I feel like it's gonna make you. That's setting you up to be creepy for the rest of your life.
I mean,
like,
it does.
I'm not calling you creepy, but that definitely is like. That's like. You're definitely never gonna have a normal health. You know what I mean? Like.
I'm definitely awkward. And I think part of that is due to what happened at Spring Creek. I'm like, not necessarily awkward even, but just like, I just don't know what the fuck to say. I feel awkward. You know what I mean?
My problem with the
talking to somebody, I just feel, if I'm meeting you for the first time, I'm extremely shy, extremely awkward, just like, I just feel super awkward, and it's just, I think part of that comes from Spring Creek.
That, I think it's the opposite with us, though, because we were forced to talk about everything, so I have no filter. There's no filter with what I say in my mouth. I will say anything to anyone and not think of any sort of consequences whatsoever, and it like, my boyfriend... Like when we go out in public, I'm not allowed to talk to strangers. Like, you need to teach me not to point at things because I'll be like, look at, like, he's like, you can't point at people because.
Oh my god.
So like now, my brother pointed out to me that I just go like this a lot now. So I'm like, oh. But like I have no filter. Like I don't, like I will say. Like something super, like a sexual thing I've done to anybody and not think about it whatsoever. Like I will just, and like I just don't, I have a sibling that will never speak to me again just because I said something, just because it was just something. It's something that I say all the time, but it's really graphic, and I just said it in front of her. She disowned me. This is in no way an exaggeration whatsoever. I said something graphic in front of her. She will never speak to me again, and it's just because I just am not used to. They taught us to just never. There was never any. We were supposed to talk about everything, everything, and did you not and then give us more because there's obviously more because you didn't give me everything that. We had to say everything, so I just don't know how to fucking ever shut up. I don't in all my relationships. I share with people, but I love people, and I'll pick I have a lot of best friends. My newest best friend is one of my oldest best friends, but I have 10 best friends easily, and they're all my best friends. And I have it's not and I think that I don't know if it's because of CEDU or because I'm crazy, but I think that they taught us to love on a super unnatural or unfucking it's just not normal way, so that we expect things out of other people more that people aren't ready to handle. I've had friends just are you're too much, I can't there's not enough of me for me to be friends with you because I'm a huge personality.
I can see that to somebody that doesn't really know the kind of stuff that you've been through. Somebody with me that has more context.
Yeah.
Because I know where that comes from. You know what I mean?
Right.
I understand it, but for somebody, I can see maybe just I don't know, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. They just don't.
You have to figure out how to keep the people in your life that don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody that I worked with a Guitar Center, and who I just let him live in my house for a year, and he's gonna fix guitars with me soon. And I was just because I realized that he lived with me a year, and then I realized that recently I'm how I'm crazy and I piss people off a lot and they don't like me, and he's what are you talking about? I was wait, I'm you have no idea how unlikable I'm. He's I've never experienced anybody saying that to you ever. And I was all right, so obviously I have to keep you around for forever because nobody thinks that about me.
Yeah.
So it's you have to learn how to keep the people in your life that like you like that. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing about even with you, everybody's experience is important. I think the differences in people are important too, because if we gave meds to all the crazy people, there would be no art. If we stopped doing drugs, there would be no good art. If there's the differences in people. If we autistic people that are crazy good at math, or you know what I mean. There's people that are that have autism that are they're super excel and stuff that normal brains just don't even understand. So there's my best friend Meg can drive somewhere 10 years later. She'll know exactly where it is. She'll know every single turn. She's super good. I cannot remember dates. I don't remember the year my father was born. I only remember he's 87 because I've said it so many times, and 87. I just remember 87 because really recently. I know it's June 1st. I don't remember the year. I don't remember dates, but I will see a TV show or a movie, and if an actress comes on or an actor comes on, I can name 5 things that they were in and their name. And it'll happen, and it'll be somebody that I don't even I just know people's names. I was supposed to be a casting director, but it's a fucking completely useless fucking thing. Also with voices, if I hear an actor's voice, if I hear anybody's voice, I know it again. Anyone. If I can just I'll be listening to a television show with my glasses off, and I'll ask my boyfriend, oh, is that actress? And they'll be yeah. I just know voices, but it's completely useless. But that's why we're fucking different for a reason. It's we're supposed to be. It's good, and I think that, yeah.
I think it would be boring if everybody was the same. You know
So you just have to learn to keep around the people that like that part about you. So.
And just most people just don't get what we went through. You know what I mean? They don't, and they can never. And even if you tell them, most people are just like, well, a lot of people just like try and be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. You're just shit like that, or they just don't get it. Like I'll tell them, and I've had some people that just don't really have that much of a reaction. It's like, how in the.
Oh, I lost you. Oh, I just said it. They said all I heard was they had a reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost you. All I heard was they had a reaction, and then you said, "How the hell?"
Yeah, how the hell can you not have a reaction to something like that?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck is wrong? Like
yeah.
I mean, at least like holy shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
But I've had some people that because they just don't comprehend what I'm saying. They can't envision that. They can't they weren't there. You can't illustrate to somebody that wasn't there unless they were there. It's just the craziest thing.
The thing so my brother, why he doesn't think that his experience is significant, it's because when I was there, I was there for like a year, maybe less, maybe a little more. And my team head was like, your dad wants to send your brother to RMA, which was in Idaho. I was in California. Because what they did for us, if your sister or brother or somebody or if your friend was going to get sent to CEDU, they tried to get you to send it to a sister school. Because there was RMA, NWA, CEDU, Boulder Academy.
What is it? What do those stand for?
So Rocky Mountain Academy, I think that was in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Academy is in Colorado. Boulder Creek Academy was in Idaho. And I think but then there's also Northwest Academy, and I think that was in Idaho too. Or Northwest Academy was or either Boulder Creek or Northwest. Okay, so there's Northwest Academy, and then Boulder Creek, and Rocky Mountain Academy, and then there was Ascent. And Ascent was the one that was like the wilderness thing that in those schools, if you were naughty, they would send you to Ascent. That was like their boot camp. That was like Seuss or like a Outward Bound or whatever. But it was like you lived in a tent, you ran all day. There were no mirrors in the whole place. That's something I just found out recently. Like it was like hardcore. Like you wore a pack and like hiked, and like no, not even hiked, ran all day. You ate all your meals outside. You slept outside. You did everything outside. You were in a teepee. Even in the winter, everything was outside. Nothing was inside. And that was like for like a month or two. And that campus was very close, I think, to either Northwest Academy or Boulder. I think it was Northwest Academy and Ascent that were right next to each other. And then Boulder Creek was in Colorado, and Rocky Mountain Academy was somewhere else. Some other state. I don't know. So yeah, I think there were 4 CEDU campuses, but Ascent and Northwest, or I think it was Northwest Academy and Ascent were on the same campus, or Ascent and maybe it was an Ascent and RMA. I don't fucking know. But also on our campus was the CEDU Middle School, which was like 50 really fucked up little kids that mostly just messed around with their brother or sister, and they didn't know what to do with it, or like cross dressers. There's a couple of cross dressers that were like 12 that like parents just didn't know what to do with their kid, and they just threw them there. And then there was Hilltop. And Hilltop was like if you were 18, or like you aged out of CEDU, you could maybe go to Hilltop, and that was like a sister school that was like in the town, that you like had a bunch of privileges, but you did basically the program, but there was a lot less. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think. But yeah, how like so they're like. So I didn't realize that there's two factions of the troubled teen industries. There's like the ones that follow like the CEDU stuff, like
there's actually like 3 or 4 different ones.
What's like the WAS or WASP or something or?
So Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs or whatever, and that encompasses programs like the one I went to, which is like points and levels, seminars, that whole thing. Then there's religious ones. There's ones that there's group homes, and then there's
Wait a minute, group homes. What are the group homes?
like just like in general, like group home. There's a lot of abuse in group homes. Like they're not like in like the same like. Okay, never mind. There's like two. There's two big ones. I'm just saying like my podcast, I encompass those four.
Okay.
Because there's abuse that happens in group homes as well. That's kind of does tie into some of the same kind of like.
Do they do at the group homes? Or do they do at the group homes? Is there like emotional abuse basically, like in the like making you feel stuff so that you do stuff?
Exactly.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So it kind of mirrors kind of what goes on.
And then it's the same.
There's the two. There's the WASP like, and then there's actually there's three, I would argue, because there's wilderness like programs, right? There's WASP programs, and then there's the religious programs. So I'd say about three. You know what I mean?
So you're right, yeah.
In general. And so that there's a lot of schools with all of those included.
Right.
You know, it's a fuck ton of different programs.
Yeah, like did they tell you that you were fucking special at yours, that yours was like the first or anything like that?
No, I don't really hear that. I don't remember talking about stuff like that. But then again, I like in general, like the students that were at Spring Creek didn't really get that close to the people like up high in management there that would be talking about stuff like that. So
I'm trying to see if I can find that fucking page really quick about that. What that staff said. I'm trying to find that just the word he said. Hold on. So in this interview that he says, hold on a second. Like he was like, behavior modification. He said, "What would you describe CEDU? Its type of treatment to the public?" And he said, "Behavior modification. But in discussion with people I trusted, I said we were saving lives."
Yeah, I mean that's what they market themselves as, is a behavioral modification program. But what is behavioral modification?
Right.
What is that what is that composed of? Usually it's composed of either the person's going to willingly want to change, right?
Right.
Or it's going to have to be forced somehow. And there's lots of different ways to do that, like brainwashing. There's a lot of different ways. Brainwashing, depriving them of certain things, certain privileges. There's a lot of things that go into it, but that's what they marketed themselves as.
Yeah.
It's the fancy wording.
Right.
You know what I mean? So people don't think twice. Oh, it's behavioral modification. Okay.
So it's like, oh, that's like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, yeah.
It makes it sound like an okay thing.
Oh my God, and listen to this. So my friend, my second interview, who was my dorm head, she had to send her kid to military school.
Yeah.
And she said that, like, the not talking was, like, crazy. Like, you know what I mean? To not, like, and then she felt like, you know what I mean? She's like, fuck, this is what my grandparents probably felt like. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, like, that, you know what I mean? Like, and, yeah, she's like, she really didn't like it. And she was like, and that she was like, she's like, it sucked to, like, have sympathy, you know what I mean, for them. And because she's like, she's sure that she felt what her grandparents felt, but it's like, oh my God, like, you know, like, what are they doing to my kid? You know what I mean? But like, you know, I guess she, like, he needed it, and like I guess he like agreed to it, you know, but like her husband is like, you know, a Marine and stuff like that. So, but she's awesome. I mean, yeah.
Well, honestly, I'd even argue that maybe military schools are kind of in there too. But the thing with military is that you're choosing to go into the military unless you're drafted, right? So people that got drafted, really shitty situation probably for them. At least that sort of thing.
Well, if there is, it's like, what is there? If there's not this, then what is there? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, even with the argument with my dad, like, my whole thing that happens with me and my boyfriend is you love talking about CEDU. he's kind of like, why can't you get over it? Like, why can't you shut, like, not like, why can't you shut up about it? But like, he's always like, maybe he is, but he's like, you just love talking about it. That's what he says. And it's like, I can't shut up about it. So shut the fuck up about me not shutting up about it, because that's why I can't shut up about it. Because like, it's like, it's not that I can't shut it. I physically cannot shut up about it. I used to scream about it in my sleep because I can't shut up about it. I'm only not screaming about it in my sleep because I'm screaming about it when I'm awake. You know what I mean? Like, it's when I don't talk about it, and that's when I'm that's when I'm dreaming, and I'm sitting on a couch that I remember I'm in the pit, and I'm yelling all the things that happen in all the prophets, because I know that will get me in trouble, so that I can, because I'm like, those kids aren't allowed to know what happens in the IME, and so I'm like trying to tell them all this stuff so that they'll kick me out, because they know that I've already been through, and this would happen a couple of times a week for most of my life. And so it's like, yeah, no, I can't shut up about it. I really wish I could shut up about it. I'm dying to shut up about it.
Yeah.
So like, so I feel like once people like will see like what we've went through and understand it, like, it's like, that's why we can't, it's like, once we feel like we've been seen, maybe we can shut up about it, because it'll go, because people will be like, oh, that's what we fucking love what Paris Hilton is doing. It's so awesome that he's doing, like, I told you that I was like fucking in charge. I was her big sister for a week when I visited.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing such awesome shit, and she's actually using her celebrity to like bring fucking attention to this. It's like so fucking great she's doing that.
Yeah, because
She's
that's
actually doing stuff too.
She has a big platform, and there's a lot of things that she could potentially do for.
And she's totally doing it, and it's like so cool. Like, I wish I could be like, Paris, you remember me? I was your big sister for like a week. I was the only one you would talk to. Thank you. Please go. Yeah.
Maybe I should put hashtag Paris Hilton in the fucking.
You really should. Say hashtag, you should hashtag Paris Hilton in it. She's not, I mean, she gets a million hashtags or whatever, but like, but who knows?
Hashtag next to CEDU, she might be like, oh shit.
Say Paris Hilton or like, I knew Paris Hilton at CEDU, maybe. Put like hashtag I knew Paris Hilton at CEDU. And then Paris Hilton CEDU and see what happens.
Okay.
Start putting that in everything. Maybe she'll. But yeah, no, in her This Is Paris, she talks to like friends that she had at Provo. But yeah, that was like when we were at CEDU. That was where they would. That was our. If you got sent to a set and you came back and it didn't work, that's where they sent you. And they would tell us, they're like, they don't care about you there. There, it's a hospital, and they do this to you. It's like, it's behavior modification, but it's in a hospital setting. Therefore, they give you crazy meds, and they fucking don't care that you're naked and alone in a hospital bed, all meds up for 3 days. They don't fucking care. And there's cameras everywhere, and like there is like all sorts of crazy shit going on there. So
I also think that like the whole involuntary hold thing against your will for mental illness, I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it should even be.
Absolutely. I've broken bones when they told me that in hospital before. You tell me that I can't leave somewhere? Fuck you. They told me I couldn't leave somewhere for 2.5 years. Never again in my adult life are they going to tell me that I can't leave somewhere.
Yeah.
Never. You know what I mean? Like, never. Unless I'm fucking in jail, never. Like, in a hospital setting, I fucking freaked out when I recently had fucking surgery. And they were like, you have to stay. I was like, oh, I do? Like, and they, like, seriously, they had to put me, like, on a hold because, like, I was fucking freaking out. And I just can't, like, I can't handle it after that. But yeah, it's just, there's no, there's, like, especially for like when you're crazy and they're like, oh, okay, now you have to stay here. That's so much worse. It's like, and it just makes it so much worse. It's so terrifying. And it's like if you feel like you're not being understood and they're gonna restrain you. It's like it's the worst. It's horrible.
Yeah, sorry, I was just putting the notes for that.
No. I thought you were rolling a joint.
No. But
yeah, what, so yeah, like, Oh, so there's school. So there's the group homes. You're like the W.A. What is it called? What is it? W.A.
W.W.A.S.P. Like WASPs, but with two W's.
And then group homes, and then there's the straight, like the ones that make the Christian ones.
Yeah, religious ones. There's religious ones. There's military ones. There's the wilderness ones. Was the other.
Wilderness.
Yeah. Yeah, because those are the wilderness ones are a whole thing in themselves. Like there's a like industry in that. Honestly, like I've heard of a lot of people getting sent to wilderness programs before they get sent to the fucking.
That's what happened to. That's what happened to a few to a couple of my friends. I think my friend was there a place called Seuss, or I don't know. There's some. I gotta find out all the names of the wilderness programs. So there's like Ascent, like obviously there's like Outward Bound, but there was one really extreme one where they like make you eat. You have to like forage for your own food while on a solo.
Oh, was that High Impact?
No, that's not what it was called. It was like something with it. It was like one word, and it was like she came back from it. We were like, oh my god, she looked like she had gone through hell, and it was like I think that she was like one of the last people to ever even go through that program that like the school would even accept because it was so bad.
Yeah, it sounds like fucking.
I feel like it ended with an X. Like I feel like it was like a weird word. It was like I think it was like Sue, and it had an X at the end or something, or like. I don't remember, but like she had like a week-long solo, and they gave her no food, and she had to eat ants. Like she had to eat ants to survive. Like SOUIX or something like that, or like I don't know, or like I feel like it's like Seuss, like Dr. Seuss, but spelled with the X or something like that is the name of it, something like that. I don't know. Comment if anyone knows what I'm fucking talking about, please comment. But yeah, that was like it was like hers was like 2 months long, and like you have to make your own pack. You have to like out of like rope and a tarp or something. Like yeah, she had to like actually
This sounds pretty familiar. I think that this was some out thing having to do with High Impact or something, or it was Tranquility Bay. He was either a wilderness thing attached to Tranquility Bay or High Impact. Because I've heard this kind of. I've heard
she had to make her own with her own. It's not like they told her doing how to do it either, though. I think too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she'd like give them rope and like she'd like make her own backpack and like had to walk like you just walk for forever. But like yeah, then she like they gave her a camp like a solo for like a week. I don't know, certain amount. I don't remember the date, like how long, but many days. And she was given like. I don't even think I think maybe a tarp, and that was it. Like no, she had like I think maybe they gave her water. They must have given her water.
But she first came to CEDU?
She went there first, and then was brought to CEDU.
Okay.
So she was sent to. It was like I think it was called Seuss, or something like that. I don't remember, but she was there, and it was like two or 3 months, maybe even, and then was brought to CEDU. This is the same one that ran away from our trip to Washington D.C. Like as an older student, we got to go to Washington D.C. and she was from Chicago, so she knew as soon as she got to CEDU, she found out about the Washington D.C. trip and was just good enough so that she got to Washington D.C. and split the second day we were in Washington D.C. She was awesome. She was my partner in crime there. Oh, it might have started with a Z. It was like I don't know. It was this S or a Z, and it was like an X in it. And it was like Seuss or Zwe. I don't know, something like that. And it was like really long, super hard, and she could eat ants.
Was it called Zeitgeist?
What?
Was it called Zeitgeist?
No, it was like one. It was like a very short word. I don't know. Me and my other friend were really trying to remember the date too, and we couldn't. And I looked it up, and I couldn't find it at all. I looked up like all wilderness programs. I couldn't find it at all. But yeah, this would have been in 1994.
Not available online. Maybe.
Yeah, I couldn't find it either. I really couldn't find it either.
You should try and track down the person that went there.
I remember her T-shirt that she wore they'd given her for it, and there was like it's something with there's like a Z. I think it started with an S or a Z, and it was an X in it, and it was like was like, it sounded like a French word or something. I don't know. It was like 2 months long. I don't know.
You should. Do you remember that person's name?
I do. I know. I can't. I'm not saying it. But yeah, I'll
Yeah.
ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
But
I
I
only
was just gonna say
recently
that you
got to
should
talk
reach
to her for
out.
the first time in like 20 something years or something like that. She lives locally, so I'm hoping to teach either her kid or her husband how to fix guitars. But, so yeah, hopefully I'll ask her. But so there was that one. But so I think we were talking about so there's the wilderness, and then. But so there was the W.A.S.P schools, and then I guess my schools there like it actually does mention like CEDU schools as a faction of the troubled teen industry.
Yeah. I would.
But
That's.
it's Synanon though. It's mostly, but it's even still derivative of Synanon.
It all goes back to Synanon, really. And CEDU, but literally the WASP thing is technically different from CEDU because
Yeah.
you guys didn't have seminars, you didn't have the points and level system, so it's like it was birthed out of CEDU.
Right.
This was birthed out of CEDU and Synanon.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's probably correct. You know, they're their own thing,
Yeah.
technically. But I still connect them all because I feel like they're all connected. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, no, and like
The evolution of the next is the evolution of the next. You know.
no, I know. But hospitals are almost on that same level too, but it's just so different because it's like state regulated and there's so many, but like hospitals are pretty fucked up too, where like
The involuntary hold in general.
yeah, anytime that you're like not at home and it's like over a couple months, that's fucked up.
And the fact that anybody can just call and be like, this person's acting crazy and get you an involuntary hold, if they can not like you and just fucking be spiteful and be like, this person's acting crazy, says they're gonna kill me, then you get an involuntary hold for fucking 72 hours.
Yeah.
You know, might drive somebody crazy. Like, that would drive me crazy. I don't like being
Yeah.
told I can't leave. So,
Yeah.
I think that gets dicey. Like, it can't, I guess maybe it can be helpful sometimes in some certain circumstances, but in general, I don't think it helps people. I don't think that whole process helps people.
No, it doesn't.
And then also in the involuntary hold, they can also send you to other places from that. So like if they think you really are acting crazy, or like if you just don't say anything, they might choose to send you to a mental hospital or something like that, or against your will. Again.
What was your medical care like there? Were there doctors there?
See, I don't know if it was an actual doctor,
Well, there's that.
but there was a guy with a cowboy hat that fucking used to prescribe all of our medications, and I don't know if it was a doctor.
Oh my god!
I don't. It was Montana, so the cowboy hat isn't really saying. It could be a doctor in Montana wearing a cowboy hat, so I don't know. But supposedly there was one doctor on site.
Yeah.
One doctor, and he was only there like every now and then. He wasn't there.
Were they pro meds there? Like, did they want you on drugs?
I was on. Yeah, I wouldn't say. I don't know if they were over drugging people because I haven't talked to enough people to know that. But
Yeah.
I know me. I was given quite a bit. Like I used to get made fun of because when they put the pills in my hand, it would be like a handful of fucking pills.
I mean, that's what I do every
What
night.
the fuck's
Yeah.
wrong with you? Like, why do you take so many pills? I'm just like, I have ADHD. I have fucking all this shit. But
I have that too. I mean,
Yeah.
you too.
I have ADHD, and I also have fetal alcohol effects. I don't have the syndrome, so it doesn't affect
What
me
does that
facially.
do?
But it's just like it's brain damage. It's
Oh, for
essentially just
fuck's
brain
sake.
damage because I was adopted. My parents used to use drugs and drink when I
Yeah,
was.
sorry.
So yeah, I have brain damage from it, but so that like manifests itself in when I was younger. Well, I still don't really like authority. Like I have an aversion to authority figures.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore because I'm older, but like when I was younger, like I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being fucking like
Right.
told I can't leave. Like I don't like authority figures in general. Like if somebody in authority, so like even my parents, like were telling me, no, you can't do that, then I'd like be rebellious and I'd want to do it.
Right.
Just makes you I don't know. It just makes you difficult to raise, I guess. I don't know. I was a fucking.
It's also like once you tell somebody they can't do something, that's the fucking first thing they want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, yeah.
But also being defiant and stuff like that. But that also ties into the ADHD. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was put on medication when I was like 5 years old. From the age of like 5, I was put on Ritalin and then Adderall.
See, I didn't get that until I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like, because I would snort it, and I went to I had a good psychiatrist, and I was like, I know why Billy Joel does cocaine in the studio.
Yeah.
And she was like, because my friends who I was snorting it at work at Starbucks when I was working, like, and they're all going to the bathroom and coming back. I'm like, what are you guys doing cocaine at Starbucks? It's like such a waste of doing cocaine at work. And I'm like, no, we're snorting Adderall. I'm like, what the fuck is Adderall? So
Yeah.
I snorted some. I went home and I finished 5 songs. I've been trying to finish for 5 years in like an hour. I was like, oh, I saw this song. I was like, oh, I know how this song goes. And I just wrote it down. I was like, oh, next one. Oh, I know how that song is. And I just wrote it down. And I was like, oh my God, I went to my shrink. And I was like, I finished 5 songs. I've been trying to finish for 5 years. I don't know what the fuck. Like, fuck, what am I doing? I'm going to become a cocaine addict. And she's like, okay, well, now we know that you have ADD. So that's good for that. But so please, if I give you, you know, if I give you Ritalin or Adderall or whatever, please don't snort it. And I was like, okay. But I'm like, I feel really lucky that I was able to explain it that plainly to somebody that like was also my psychiatrist and my therapist, because like so many people go through this crazy thing of like being a drug, like finding out that that's the medication they need by being a drug addict, and then forever they're never going to get that as a medication. Do you know what I mean? Like if I had done cocaine or meth or something like that, and like found out that, oh my God, like this is how my brain's working, and it wasn't able to tell a psychiatrist those things and just became a drug addict. Do you know what I mean? I would never be able to get prescribed Ritalin by a doctor that knew any of my past. Do you know what I mean? So like I just feel like that was it. That could have easily led me on a path of doing drugs to be able to get my brain to work like everybody else's. But I got really lucky because I was in a good situation with the doctor and was just able to tell her what was going on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. ADHD fucking, because for people like us, Ritalin and stuff like that and Adderall, it actually makes us focus.
Dude, I got into 20 car accidents before. And every time, it was just me rear-ending somebody. I rear-ended easily 15 cars, totaled at least 10 cars, before I figured out that it was just because my reaction time was not... I couldn't read books. I never was able to just read books. When I started taking my medication, I would read Time and Newsweek front to back at my nanny job. And I was like, what the fuck? I understood every single word of that. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't know how my brain just didn't work. And like, it's scary because like, you know, I take a good amount of Ritalin too, because I can't take Adderall because my stomach's weird. I can't take any Vicodin or any sort of any sort of like painkiller, like any like fucking... I can't even take Dilaudid, I found out. Like anything that is any sort of painkiller, I can't take morphine, I can't take codeine, I can't take oxycodone, nothing. I can't take, it just makes me throw up, you know. But so I take a good amount of Ritalin, but like it's hard finding doctors that'll understand, like, listen, I've been in the same amount of Ritalin for 20 years. So like this isn't, you know, but it's scary, like finding new doctors, because it's like it's a weird drug, like to need, you know, like, you know what I mean, for your brain to
also
work.
isn't really prescribed as much anymore. You can still get Ritalin. That's crazy.
No, I'm as an adult too, and it's terrifying too, because yeah, like I can't take. So when I took Adderall, because that was what they first. Because I was 23 when I started taking it. When they gave me Adderall, and what I would have to eat something, take my Adderall, and then a half an hour later I would have to eat a full meal, or else I would throw up. And I would take that full meal, and I would still fight to not throw up, so I'd have to eat a little more. So then, and then I have to take my Adderall for the second time a day. I have to do that again. I eat like 4 meals a day. I was gaining so much weight on Adderall. That's not supposed to happen. Nobody gains weight on Adderall. And I was like, I had to tell I'm like, I don't know what to do. So like we had to try Ritalin. So it's the only one that didn't make me gain weight. Yeah, because I have a weird stomach, but it's really weird. Like, yeah, not a lot of people are on not a lot of 43-year-olds on a lot of Ritalin, like legally. So it's funny.
Yeah.
But I'm bipolar and I have ADHD. But yeah, and I have complex. Do you have complex post-traumatic stress disorder or just post-traumatic stress disorder? Do you know what complex is or?
Isn't it just like it's?
Oh, I lost you. Oh, I lost you. Oh,
Isn't it
I
more
lost you.
frequent?
I lost you. All I heard was it is.
Isn't it just mean more frequent? Essentially?
No. Complex means you probably have it. If you do you dream about it? Like, do you dream about what Spring Creek Lodge? Do you like dream about it when you're asleep?
I don't really remember my dreams that much because I smoke a lot of weed, but
No,
but
no.
but
Like complex post-traumatic stress disorder is when you constantly are sleeping, when you dream of it all the time and you're still there. That's one of the major symptoms of it. People, prisoners of war, like those are like Vietnam vets that were prisoners of war, or some of the first documented cases.
I
But
would
yeah, it's like
I would say yeah, I probably have it.
yeah.
Probably
It's
have it.
like it's like after a certain it's after a certain amount of time. Like if you've experienced like trauma, you can have post-traumatic stress. But if you're experiencing that trauma over and over and over again for a really long amount of time, that's complex
Yeah,
post-traumatic
that's
stress disorder.
complex.
Yeah. But so it's very different. Like I mean, you probably have both. You know, I mean, I know I do, but yeah, but like it's a different, like, yeah. So like if you're trying to get help for it, you have to find somebody that knows the C, what the C stands for in front of complex post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen? There's a girl that does a lot of YouTube videos. I think she did TikTok first about CEDU. I forget her name. I'll send you a link to her. But there's a YouTuber that talks a lot about CEDU. She's probably maybe my age, or no, I think she was there maybe 10 years before I was, or a little, maybe five or 10 years before I was. But yeah.
Okay.
Um, but when I watched some of her videos, and she's the one, she said it. She's like, I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and she's like, all the time I'm dreaming that I'm there as an adult with my son. No, and then I'm like screaming, where is my son? And yeah, and then she's like, and then I'm at my age now, and I'm like, oh yeah, that isn't another thing about it. When I dream about it, I am my age now. It's not like I'm young and there. I'm
Yeah.
definitely my age there now. Because I'm like, I know all this stuff. Why am I still here? You know?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know. So, like, did you have a big brother when you got there? Like,
There was like a they buddy you up with somebody when you first get there. I can't remember exactly what that was called, but they do
how
buddy
many,
somebody.
how much older than they were from you?
It
None of that
wasn't
were
an
real
age. It wasn't
sentence.
an age thing. It was level. It was a level. Actually, yeah, it was usually junior staff.
Oh, okay.
I actually remember who. Yeah, I
How
remember.
long were you junior staff before you were allowed to graduate?
What's up?
How long were you junior staff before graduation?
You had to get to level 6, and you had to complete all of the required seminars. So you had to go through orientation, discovery, focus.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. So you're saying that at your school, you got there, went through all the stuff as a male, all boys. You went through all of the seminars. Then you had to do it all again with you mixed with boys and girls with when you're older students, and then you had to do that to other kids.
So we had to get to level 6 to graduate, right? But in that time, like, you would go through seminars while you were gaining levels. And then once you got to level 4, you would have to staff those seminars. You were required to staff at least 2 seminars to
Twice.
graduate.
So what I just said, but twice.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait a minute. Hold on. So that would be like so that would be like for me, like if I went through my entire program and then had to do all of my profits again twice to graduate.
No. You don't complete the program first. You don't complete the program first. Wow, like that's a requirement to get to level 6. Like you can't get to level 6 until you. So to graduate the program, full breakdown is you have to go through orientate. You have to get to level 6, but while you're getting the first 3 levels, you're going through orientation, focus, and discovery, and maybe principles. But then once you get level 4 and your junior staff, then you go through 2 keys seminars, and then you have to do PC1, PC2, and PC3. And then during that time, you'll probably get up to about level 5. And then during that time also, you have to staff one of the seminars. So you can staff orientation, orientation, discovery, focus, principles, or keys seminar, but you have to staff 2 of them. And then you can go up to level 6 once you've done all that and go to PC3 and then graduate.
And then what's level 6?
Level 6 is just the last level where you go to PC3, which is Parent-Child Seminar 3, and then right after PC3, you end up going home.
Oh, okay. So it's nothing like what I just said. All right. Fuck.
Yeah. But you do have to,
wait a minute.
yeah, you do have to staff the seminars.
So how many seminars did you staff?
I actually staffed I can't remember exactly how many, like 4 or 5. I actually kind of enjoyed it because I felt like I was actually helping people.
No, because it's like you're seeing your friends. If you can like help your friends, like you were a good cop. It's like being a good cop.
Yeah.
That's the reason why there are good cops is because they're making sure the bad cops aren't that bad.
But that's the only reason I was really like that is because I fucked around for like the first year I was there, and I was in like intervention and study hall and fucking solitary confinement, all that shit for like the first year I was there. And so I knew what it was like to be picked on and like feel like it was hopeless, like, and why even try? And so fucking I was just kind of take people that got picked on under my wing and like play like a guardian type of role, and then at the same time help people through this seminar, because that was like the only way you could really help lower levels is like to be like, look, this is what they want you to do. Like,
Yeah, no,
put on a show.
that's what somebody put it to me once. Like, I was sitting on a table, which so like I think I told you that like if we were in trouble, they would say you would have a full time or a table. Oh, and my friend reminded me they also had couches, and so like that was if you were just in a little amount of trouble and they wanted to punish you, you could be stuck to sitting at one place in the main house, which would be the pit or this area, which is it's called this area, and then like the upper couch, and then like chest area was another area. There's all these little areas in the house, and if you were in trouble, you could be made to sit in this one area whenever you weren't like at meals or in your dorm, and only certain people would be allowed to sit in that area with you, and you were not allowed to talk to certain people, but all day you had to do writing assignments or had to have appointments for people to come and talk to you about certain things, and they were older students, and they were only approved people. And then the next level of being in trouble was if you were on just a table, it was in the dining room, you would have one table in the dining room that was your table. Nobody was allowed to come at your table, even that was nobody was allowed to sit at your table, clean your table, that was your table. If it was just a table, you would sit at the table if it was away from your dorm, and it was at meals, so that was your all the time. And then you would go to classes if you had classes, and then work assignments if you would work or like whatever your like level was doing. And then at night you would sit there. There was no free time. All your time was spent at the table, and you would be doing right assignments. It'd be like everything you've ever done wrong, like every sexual thing you've ever done wrong, and how many times, and with who. And then every time that you've done any, like, I'm trying to think of bad things, like it's mostly just anytime you've done drugs, anytime you've had sex, anytime that you've risked your life, anytime you've stolen anything, anytime I'm trying to think of things that thought you were, make you naughty. I don't know, cheated. I don't know. Sometimes you were not a naughty kid. Like you write it over and over again, and then just really forced you to make, think about things. But yeah, like when you would write and then anytime you'd broken the rules, and they call that a dirt list. And you would write a dirt list all the time, and you would have to give it to a staff member, and they would punish you by giving you like dishes to do like that night, like you would do the nice dishes, or you would to do whatever. So, but
So self-snitching.
what? And then that's what?
So like self-snitching, like
Yeah.
snitching. So.
But yeah, I think I even told you, yeah, like, so yeah, there was a thing like, yeah, like we had to write dirt lists all, like every, like if you were an older student, you wrote it like a week, but if you're in the beginning, you wrote a dirt list like once a day or like once every other day. And it would be like, I popped off 4 times. And that would mean that would mean like I sang a song that was unacceptable 4 times and somebody caught me. Right. So it'd be like, I started singing like, any unacceptable song, like whatever, and like you got caught. But then later on, when you would write down, I popped off 4 times, that would mean that you started singing it like and you like accidentally, and you caught yourself and nobody heard it. You know what I mean? But then sometimes you'd even be like, I popped out that 3 times. That'd be like you were just singing a pop off in your head, and you'd be writing that down. You know what I mean? Because you had to just keep on writing stuff down. So yeah, there was definitely times when like the easiest example is like my relationship with Jackson was that I immediately, me and Jackson were like super drawn to each other, but I didn't know it was like a love situation. Like we were just we were just super like liked each other. He just made me laugh super hard, and we were super attracted to each other. And then because immediately they're like, you're flirting with Jackson, that's against the rules. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like the coolest person in the world. Why would he want to be with me? It wasn't like, why would you don't make that a big deal. Like, he's just my friend. Why would you like, it was just like, it was like that. I wasn't even like, that's totally not even an option. This guy is like super cool. Like this guy makes everybody laugh. Like, don't even say that, because it's like, that's, you know what I mean? And everyone be like, and then it got to the point, it's like, everyone's like, you're fucking Jackson in the Woods, is what I heard. I don't know how many times in my life I'd heard, you're fucking Jackson in the Woods.
Oh
like,
God.
I seriously, like, hundreds.
Did it kind of make you want to play into it?
Like, no, like, it was just like, I mean, I'm seriously, I can't, like, I've heard it from so many people, like, I can hear it by so many voices. Like, of being accused of something that I was like, I couldn't even fathom, because he was so cool and so, you know what I mean? Like, everybody loved him so much.
Yeah.
And like, he's a fucking rock star's kid. So it's like, I just, I just didn't even, like, that was not even an option. Like, the fact that, like, he would even want me as his friend was like, I'm like, I just, he wants me in his life. Please don't mess up me being in his life by accusing me of something stupid like that. So when it came for us to actually have a relationship, I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, why would you make our friendship into something that would be temporary? Because what we have already is so much better than what any relationship could be. And so, like, when, we did have a relationship for, like, a long time, but it was always, like, we never really were, like, we were never exclusive to each other, because he lived in California and I live in Connecticut. And, like, but I am a pilot's daughter, and I flew for free until I was 25. So any 3-day weekend I had, or any vacation I had, I would just go to California and stay at his house, and then just be there for a couple days and come back home. Or like if his dad would go on tour and they would be in New York or Boston, like I'd come and visit him. But like, but like our lives were super separate, and we would have, like, most of the time we would definitely have, like, other relationships, and like there were times that, like, they kind of got in the way, and it was kind of like hard to see, like that part of the reason why growing up, fuck, this is fucked up to say, but it was hard for me to ever be exclusive with anybody growing up, because I never could be exclusive with the one person I wanted to be exclusive with. So I was kind of always forced to just have, lots of boyfriends.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing wrong with.
I mean, it's honestly something that I didn't mind, you know what I mean? But like, but it didn't, there were times where I got hurt by it, you know what I mean? And I'm sure, and I know, actually, I do know for a fact now that I hurt somebody really bad by him. That like, there's somebody that is in my life um, that like I knew from college, and like we had a really good thing going, and like I would just go and visit him. I'd just go and visit Jackson, and he was like, well, fuck, she's not coming back. And like it would hurt him really bad, and like, and then I'd just come back and we'd do stuff, and he was just expected to be okay with it, and then I would just go and then come back. And like one time I just went, and he just thought I was never coming back, and he just moved on. But like, I didn't know that it like super affected his whole life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so it was just like, it wasn't like the best way to be to other people,
Yeah.
But
Well, I
yeah.
just think communication is just really key. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You gotta communicate,
yeah.
but or else you can't do,
But no, I mean, but it's like, just like the whole, like the not talking, when like I mean, like the not talking to boys, the girls thing must have, I mean, just not talking to one person. So there'd be times so when we'd be on bands from just each other. So that meant that like, so that in the beginning it was like, my mom died, and Jackson was like the only person I remember that was like genuinely like, hey, I just heard I know your mom died, and you just went home and like saw her die and stuff, like, I'm sorry, and it's like, I'm sorry, like you can talk to me, and I was like, it was the only person that I felt really did that for me. And so like, he was just super important person to me. It didn't matter like any, like, but like our time there was super complicated because like, um, immediately people were like, you're flirting with Jackson, you're like, and I'm like, why, and I was always like, no, I'm not, like, and I was like, I always had to be like, he was so funny, like he was like so funny, he's just so like, I can't tell you how funny he was, like it was just like, I would just get in trouble for laughing at him all the time, and there would be times when we would be on bands from each other, and he would be making the entire house laugh, and I would be expected to not laugh because he didn't exist for me. And because that's what bands meant. If you're on bands with somebody, they didn't exist. That meant that you couldn't look at them. So if you're caught looking at them, you were in trouble, and you like, you had to write that down. That was on your dirt list. And so I had to be like, I looked at Jackson 10 times today. And be like, and then, or be like, and then like, that meant also then, and then I realized that it meant that I was on a level I couldn't talk about him. Like, I could be like, I couldn't be, like, because I realized that, like, later when I actually got to not be on bands, and then it was on bands again, and I would talk about him, they're like, you're on bands from, I'd be like, oh, I missed, like, I'm, like, it really sucks that I can't talk about, like, how do I not get on bands from Jackson? And my dorm head was like, you're talking about Jackson. I'm like, yeah, I'm talking about Jackson. I'm not looking at him. It's like, no, that's part of bands. He doesn't exist to you. You can't talk about him. And I was like, what? I was like, how am I not supposed to? I can't even talk about him. I can't. It's already done with. I can't like look at him. I can't talk to him. I can't talk to him. I didn't realize I can't talk about him. And like that was another level of bands. I didn't even realize that until like after being there like months, like 4 months or something. That was a whole other level of bands. That like, so yeah, like I couldn't. So I couldn't talk about him. I couldn't look at him. And then it was like I couldn't think about him. So I was like, and then I couldn't laugh at anything he did. So it was like there's and then so after I had adhered to that many level of bands for a certain amount of time, like months, like 3 months would go by where he would say funny shit. Like he would go home on home visits and come back and have stories to tell, and I wouldn't hear them. And like, and maybe not 3 months. It would probably be like 3 weeks. But like that would be like if your dad came home and like your whole house, and like it was just like he was such a big part of, like, there was only 100 people, and we were a huge family. We all felt really fucking close to each other. And so like, and that was so encouraged, like to let our inner child and to do anything playful was so encouraged, like making up stupid dances, or like fucking like I taught fucking 50 people probably how to play guitar. I definitely taught at least 12 people how to really play guitar. And like they're like like I've knitted, I mean, I've crocheted this a ridiculous amount of things because I knew how to crochet there. But like they just really try, like they like any little kid names that you had were like really encouraged, or like I don't know, just like anything childish or like fun, or letting your inner child that was like they were like super, that was like anything silly was like, really, encouraged. But like, so like all those things would happen, and like he would be the instigator of all of them, and I had to not laugh at it. And then I had to do that for a certain amount of time, and then we were allowed to talk. And then, but it had to be like, oh, hey, what's up? We weren't allowed to like cry about the fact that we weren't in each other's lives for that amount of time. It was like we had to be like, oh, it's cool, whatever. And so like it was it was just a really hard person to be, have my first love and my first relationship. But he's like, yeah, it's like he it's hard, like, cause that, like, we were together until I was probably like 21 maybe, and then like, but he's still one of my best friends. He's never been out of my life, like, we just can't. It's like I made a point at one point to let him know that the way he treated me, he can't treat other women. That like you can't, that like you have to choose just one person. It's not cool to be with many. And I think I hope that's what I hope he's watching this, and I hope he understands that that's what I was trying to teach him. And because like, I think we agreed that like I never want to be out of his life, and that yeah, like he's like my favorite person. I like there was even like I talked to his wife many times, and there was one time his wife called me his ex-girlfriend, and I did like really set it straight with her. I was like, please don't call me his ex-girlfriend. I was like, we were in something much bigger than like a religion together for a long period of time. I was like, Jackson was my best friend before and after we were in a relationship. And so yeah, it's like he like my dad if like my dad, like if whenever my dad like needs to know anything about CEDU, like he doesn't believe me if Jackson says it's not true, or like there I don't know, like there was something recently where like I had to like set a password, and it was like a fucking pet name that he used to call me or something like that. And like it was just so funny. It's like because it's like the only thing my dad knew that of like a nickname that I had. And it's like it's just so fucking funny. Like he's just a huge, huge part of my life still. And yeah. But it's like we like there's a lot of us like that. Like our relationships there were like so fucking super, super like extra, extra, extra extreme. Like, but I had that with like many, many people. Like there were a lot of us that are just like we were like so close. Like, and especially there's like one girl that like we hated each other for a long time. Like we really hated each other, and she was like kind of known for being a bitch. And there was just at one point like after CEDU we became friends, and like she was just like, yo, like I hated it so much there, and I'm so sorry I was mean to you, but like I love you so much, and like she's one of my greatest, like I will be her friend for forever. I love her to death. Like there was another girl who was her best friend who like at one point like we were in the middle of our prof eat, and she says to me, Kari, let's be friends. And I was like, okay. Like, I thought I was thinking the exact same things. We never got along. In the last, like, 6 months we were there, she was my best. She was one of my favorite friends. I was allowed to have, they, like, let you, like, kind of do things that, like, would let your dream come true, kind of like almost like a make-a-wish thing. And, like, I was allowed to have a band for a day. And one of my friends, like was allowed to have a drum set, and we got even to practice a couple times, and he played drums. His dad is super famous musician, so it's really funny to be able to brag who my first drummer was. And then my other friend got to play guitar, and he's a really great guitar player too. And she played bass, and it was awesome. But yeah, like, I mean, there was, because there was those good things about it that are, like, obviously super emotional because they were so amplified. Like, because it's like, also because one of the first things we learn there is, to the degree you feel your sorrow, the same degree you feel your joy. That's like the first tool that we learned. Because, like, and it's 100%, a million bajillion percent true. Letha, I know you don't agree with me. She doesn't agree with me on that. But, but I truly believe it to be true. But, like, because, like, we went through something so horrible and things were so hard there. I think that some of the experiences, or maybe they did that to us on purpose, they gave us such amazing experiences that it made up in some way for how horrible that they were, or because we were going through these with the same people, we bonded in such amazing ways. Yeah, that, like, it's just like, it's hard to be like, oh, but it was bad. No, how can it be bad? You know what I mean? Like, we have these people now. Like, what are you saying, that we're bad, or you like regret, like, that, like, we have a family now? Like, you know what I mean? Because there's people, there's like a group of, like, I mean, I don't know how, there's a lot of us dead. There's like there's like 10 of us dead that I can think of right now. But, like, I mean, there's like, 80, 100, 120 people that, like, if I see the back of them running in a crowd, I will know who they fucking are. Because it's happened a couple of times. Like, there's just, like, or if I hear their voice, I'll know who it is. Like, it's insane. Like, we just knew each other so well. It's like more than family. I just got a text from my friend Randy, who was fucking pissed that I said something about our friend in our previous podcast, and I was like, we had a little fight about something else, about me being on too many meds, and I was like, fuck you, Randy, don't fucking talk to me anymore. And recently I've been like, dude, I'm sorry, like, whatever, I'm sorry, we're cool. And he's like, yo, you're like my family, you'll always be my family, all of you are like my family. And it's true, like, we're all like family. And yeah, it's like, how, like, are you gonna be mad that you have a family? Like, just, I mean, but that's also like survivor's guilt. So
Yeah.
but what were like what were your, like, the tools that they told you in your seminars?
What you create in the seminar is a mirror of your life. There are no accidents. um, Based on results, you have exactly what you intend, which is really fucked up.
Wait, hold on, hold on. I gotta write all these down because those are totally different than ours. Hold on a second. All right. What was the first one?
Based on results, you have
Based
exactly what you intend.
based on results.
Or hold up. I can go grab my fucking binder real quick.
Based on results, you get the exact what?
No, based on results, you have exactly what you intend.
You have based on results, you have exactly what you intend? Is that like you can't always get what you want, but you try sometimes to get what you need?
No, it means that based on the outcome, you intended that to happen. So for like rape victims, you intended that. It's the stupidest shit ever. And then fucking they have what you create in the seminar is a mirror of your life.
Yeah.
And then let's see, there are no accidents. There are no accidents, which is really fucking stupid too. Because there are accidents.
Yeah.
Like if I stub my toe, it's on accident.
Well, see, I think that if you stubbed your toe, if you didn't do that, then something wouldn't have happened. I watch a lot of sci-fi. I watch Doctor Who. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and so I believe that there are no accidents. But so, yeah. I'm not religious, but I'm a Whovian.
Yeah.
But what is another? But yeah, so I just, because I think that, like, maybe, you know, like the certain things. I was driving. Did you see on my Facebook that I was driving and my fucking hood on my car flew up into my windshield and I almost totaled my car?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, so
Just recently?
so I did that. So I was driving and my fucking hood on my car flew into my windshield. Immediately after it happened, my mechanic that had just sold me the car, we're half an hour away from where his mechanic, where his shop is. My mechanic saw me on the other side of the highway on the driving, and it thought, that car looks familiar.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I'm saying about don't. I think that mistake was supposed to happen because, and I think that's what told me. I'm like, I got that. It didn't total my car. I think I really like the car, but do you know what I mean? Like because what if that because it was. I wasn't even wearing my fucking seatbelt when it happened, and I was totally fine. You know what I mean? I was on the highway and it happened, but like it was a faulty wire on my hood. So what that tells me is that could have happened at a lot worse of a time.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's the whole thing. It's like there's things that could have happened at worse things. So when you say mistakes don't happen for a reason, you have to think about what could have happened. Because you also have to think about like there's in sci-fi, it is always a thing. Go save Kennedy, right? It's always a thing. Always a thing. Stephen King does a thing about it. Everybody fucking does a thing about going save Kennedy. It's the same way that everyone wants to go save Hitler if you're a fucking Nazi in time machine and like whatever. So like, or cloning Hitler is always a thing in sci-fi. But it's always, but what you always learn is that you can't change that because things were supposed to happen for things like that. Because if that didn't happen, other things would have happened. So
Yeah.
if there weren't certain mistakes, other things, you know what I mean? And it's also
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I know what they meant by it, but it's just like
Yeah.
it's just stupid because there are actual accidents and
No,
fucking,
I know, but it's also like you could also say that's like, but that's also a really bad like argument for fucking like anti fucking abortion people. Like I'm a total you should be able to fucking do whatever you want in your body,
yeah.
but like yeah, and that's but, yeah. Yeah,
People be crazy.
but
See, the people that came up with this shit is crazy.
yeah, um. So no, so wait. Based on results, you have exactly what you intend. What are
Yeah.
other like ours were so like on our first one was the truth shall set you free. To the degree you feel your sorrow, the same degree you feel your joy.
Hang on, I'm gonna go grab my binder.
Uh,
All right, I got my binder right here. My fucking binder full of
oh shit.
all my. This is all my seminar work. So let's see what they have in here. I think that's okay. There's forms feedback, which is forms stands for factual, observable, respectable, my experience, and specific. Like your magical child and shit. Hold on. Oh yeah, what you create in the seminar based on results. Okay, there. Behavior follows beliefs, which is true. That one is true. And then it reiterates that behavior follows beliefs always. And then it says that which is not acted upon is not learned, which is true for the most part. And then there's nothing can change when you're comfortable.
That's bullshit.
I know. And then there are no large or small agreements, only large and small consequences.
I'm taping this. I don't know why I'm worried about writing this down. I am video. That's fucking really interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the other ones?
I'm seeing.
Oh, is that still the first one that you're going through?
Oh no, this is all the homework that I fucking had to do. This is like my life story, rewriting my life story.
That's crazy. I lost all my writing assignments.
I kept all of my shit. Oh yeah, okay. So behavior follows beliefs. Okay. Okay. Purpose without. Oh wait. The purpose of education is to unsettle the mind. What you fear, you create. Which actually, to a degree, I feel like that is true because
What you fear, you create.
what you fear, you create. So when I fear something, I end up creating it for myself. That's personally for me. I personally have found that to be true for me.
Yeah, now I'm just thinking about spiders, though. I'm just afraid of spiders, so I just think about spiders. But I do. But you know what it is? But you're totally right, though, because no, I'm thinking about it. It's like when you look for spiders, you find spiders. If you don't look for spiders, you find fucking spiders. I am always looking for spiders because I'm afraid of them. So I'm always like, every room I go to, I'm like, where's the spider? I'm gonna find this. I know there's a spider in here. So that's kind. I do understand that now. What was it again?
What you fear, you create. And then the universe.
That's good stuff. See, that's what's fucked up about this stuff is because like when it makes sense, then people are like, oh, I want to live my life behind it. Like, why would it be a bad thing?
It's truth mixed with fiction.
Yeah.
It's literally the universe. That's why it works. Is that it's truth mixed with fiction. That's why it fucking works. The universe rewards action, not just thinking. Which is kind of true, I guess. The universe rewards action, not just thinking. I mean, the universe doesn't reward all the time, though. The universe doesn't always reward you, though. So I find that one thing does.
Okay, wait, this is so stupid. Have you read The fucking Secret? Have you read The Secret?
Yes, I've read The Secret, but see,
dude, I did it. It fucking worked with one thing. It totally worked with one thing, and I was like, all right, I'm not fucking with this anymore. Like, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, I did The Secret, and it worked, like, a little bit, and I was like, okay, that's, like, a little weird, I just stopped doing it, because it did work. I'm just saying.
Okay. Purpose without vision is just a hope. Vision without goals is just a wish. Goals without action are just thoughts. Purpose, vision, goals, and action are the dreams of a new life. And then they have this commitment scale, which is crazy. It's doing whatever it takes is a +5. Committed to purpose and vision, living in the land of accountability. +4, going for it until declaring commitment and taking action until it becomes inconvenient. I guess that's where I'm normally at. +3, great idea, some action. Cheerleader verbally declares commitment, takes action as long as it's easy. +2, good for others, I'm fine. Cheerleader for everyone else, great idea, but not engaging for themselves. I'm sometimes there too. +1, compliance, obedience. It's interesting how they use these terms, compliance and obedience. This is a have to, obstacle to overcome, committed to bare minimum to look good. 0 is neutrality, do it or do not, no action to create change, whatever attitude. -1 is apathy and pessimistic, it probably wouldn't matter anyways. -2, passive resistance, denial and self-sabotage, it probably wouldn't work because locked into reasons, stories, and excuses. -3, active resistance, committed to something else. Actions are misaligned with what they say they want. -4, battle or prove it mode, committed to being right, will battle for their position. And -5 is war, doing whatever it takes to be right. Active conflict, total misalignment, my way or the highway. And then it further explains the shit. Then it says there's no accidents. Your true level of integrity can be measured by what you do when you think no one is looking, which is true. And then they had you write a letter to your magical child.
What is the magic? Is that, is that what your inner child? I think, what do you call it? I think it's called our little kid.
It's your inner child, which actually there's a lot of potential.
Did you have to like find your little kid name in your head? Like, did you have to like come out with what was your little kid name?
No, but you had to like communicate with your fucking inner child, and like you had to like live through your inner child.
Yeah.
The whole point of the seminar.
Was that the beginning, or was that was in the beginning, right?
The beginning of what?
Of the whole process.
Part of
it was
it
in order, right? Everything was in an order, right?
Yeah, this was part of orientation.
Yeah.
It's just the first seminar. And then they talk about grungies and payoffs. And grungies are anger, depression, fear, and guilt. And payoffs are, so in anger, your payoff is control. Depression, your payoff is sympathy, which really isn't always true. No. With fear, your payoff is an excuse to avoid. And with guilt, your payoff is to help maintain what is. And then it talks about like guilt being like a cycle. Guilt being like a cycle here.
It actually says fucking grungies. That's fucking funny as hell.
Yeah. And then it says the accountability formula, which is actually, if you follow this, usually I found that it kind of works in sometimes maybe. It's stop, look, choose, vote, do it, and step left. So stop, or does it count? Okay, so stop is like just like stop what you're thinking, stop, just stop. Look at the problem, analyze it, choose what your options are, decide what you want to do about it, then do it, and then move on.
Wow.
So
it's weird, like none of these are the same so far. Like none of this is the same shit.
Yeah. And then they talk about victim language and accountable language.
That we don't get until like after we're in there for a year and a half almost.
Yeah, this is the first seminar, I'm pretty sure. Yep. June, or no, this is the second seminar. Intention versus mechanism. Argue for your limitations, and they are yours. And then it talks about self-enhancing beliefs, hidden emotions, self-limiting beliefs, intentions, and then the magical child. And it like gives this like diagram where the magical child is on the bottom, at the very root of everything, which is actually really true. Like your inner child is beneath everything. It's beneath all the trauma. It's right. It's in your heart. It's where your magical child lives. And then it reiterates that based on results, you have exactly.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I want to name a record after that. What's up?
And then it talks about SMART goals. And SMART means specific, measurable, aligned, reach, and time frame. Specific means concrete, tangible, detailed with a clear plan. Measurable, must have means to measure it, not hope. Aligned with your purpose, vision, or intention and contract. Reach must be a reach or risk for you. Time frame must have an end date to be accomplished, not open-ended. And then they have you like evaluate yourself.
Yeah, was there any literature that they had you read? Was there any like books that they like thought that you should like really get into?
No, they just had you read this material, whatever's written.
Yeah, like because like for us it was the prophet, but like they also was like we had a building named Walden, and like we had a building named like Henry David Thoreau's the thing, like was something to aspire to, and like somebody else like I don't know. Yeah, there's no like literatures. I'm wondering if fucking they wanted you to read Anne Ryan or whatever, for however you say your name. Fountainhead. Whoever the woman that wrote the Fountainhead. I'm wondering if they I wonder if like they were you know what I mean? Like that super like that kind of ideology. I don't know, that's what it sounds a little like, but
check this out. Seminar ground rules. Maintain absolute confidentiality of other students' expressions and experiences. What goes on in this seminar stays in this seminar.
That was everything. They should have just tattooed, wrote that everywhere, right? Just everything. That was all. That was everything. That was all. Yes, that was all, everything. Yes.
Like if you talked about it outside of there, like
And that meant for the rest of your life. That meant to your family. That meant that if you went to a doctor, if you were hurt from something that happened, you could not tell the doctor. You could not tell anybody. Yes.
Yeah. Be on time, be seated before the music ends, because they play this music. Which was 2001: A Space Odyssey, and you'd have to fucking be seated before it ended, and then be present for the entire seminar. This is kind of a no-brainer, but I don't know where you get alcohol or drugs anyways. But use no alcohol or drugs unless prescribed by your physician until completion of the seminar. Follow your doctor's orders regarding medications and prescriptions. Remain in the seminar room except for breaks. In the case of a physiological emergency, create agreement with the team captain to leave the room. If you have medical exceptions, create agreement with the team captain regarding your needs. If you wish to share, raise your hand, be acknowledged by the facilitator, stand and speak loudly. No side talking. Wear your name tag in a visible location at all times in the seminar room. Turn in your name tag when so designated. No recording or note-taking in the seminar room unless otherwise instructed by the facilitator or service team. Turn off all pagers, beepers, and cell phones while in the seminar room. That doesn't apply to us. Sit next to someone new after each break. So they made you sit next to someone new.
This is stuff that you got off the internet. They didn't give this to you, right? This is something.
No, this is stuff that they gave me in the program.
Are you kidding me? You're allowed to keep that?
Yeah, well, fucking, yeah, this is all fucking, our fucking...
That's crazy. Because this is something they would say to us, but we weren't allowed to have documented of the, like, we weren't allowed to have a document of them saying this shit to us.
Yeah, do not eat, chew, or drink beverages while in the training room unless otherwise instructed by the facilitator or service team. Do not make any major life changes unless already in progress for a minimum of 30 days following the completion of this seminar. What the fuck? I don't remember that. What?
That sounds totally, see, all that sounds familiar to me too, because I think that's in the CEDU shit too. I believe that's totally fucking in the CEDU stuff too.
And then it says complete the seminar through graduation, follow the instructions of the facilitator. But that one, do not make any major life changes unless already in progress for a minimum of 30 days. Why is it 30 days? What happens in 30 days?
Because they want you to think, they don't want you to, that makes sense, but I think that they said that to us too.
That's because it's brainwashing, dude. They want that shit to sink in. They don't want you to start thinking that's crazy that says that.
I think that, yeah, hold on, let's say.
Growth can only happen when you are uncomfortable.
Say, what was that?
Growth can only happen when you're not comfortable.
That's weird.
You either have your reasons, stories, and excuses, or you have the results to say the results you say you want. Work on your own program. Commit yourself to your own work and growth. You have started the path of creating a whole and healthy self and family. Continue each and every day to dedicate yourself to this process. Attend Focus and all the Keys to Success workshops. This is your program. It is critical for you to internalize these tools and skills. Make a difference in other people's lives. You can do this by staffing seminars, telling others of the program, doing community service, and more. When you get yourself out of the way in order to make a difference in other people's lives, then you will move out of your own old ways and patterns that have not worked. Create a support system. Attend a local parent support group. Sign up and use the online parent bulletin board. Keep in touch with other parents who are working their program. Include the rest of your family as partners. Make sure you enroll the rest of your family, including all split family members, in this effort of creating whole and healthy families. Everyone who touches your child's life is an important aspect to creating support for him or her, both during their time in the program and upon completion. Focus on your total family, not just the child in the program. This includes yourself. Use the gift you have given your family to support all the family. staff as often as you can. Let your child know you are moving on with creation of a new family. Do not worry about hurting his or her feelings. You want them to be part of the family, but it can never be as it was before. You are changing and you expect them to do so as well. Do not make them wrong or threaten. Simply inform them of this, both in your words and most importantly in your deeds. Sign up for a family coach upon graduation of the program. This is a critical part of continuing your success once your teen rejoins your family union. And then practice everything you learn in the seminars. And then it says, don't ever mention time. Any change of the child's program status, levels, seminars, completion, etc. is based on results, not time. Answer any time questions with a standard response such as whatever the program recommends. This is telling the parents what to do. Never create special deals. Do not create or attempt to create any special treatment outside of the rules of the program or other that which the program may recommend. This creates an opportunity for your child to manipulate both you and the program and will stifle their progress. Remember, whatever the program recommends.
See, that was the thing that they told my dad a lot too. That is like, she's gonna manipulate you. Like that was a big thing. Is that and so therefore forever, my dad is always convinced that I manipulate him.
Yeah. And it says,
is that thing with your parents too?
Yeah. And then it says, do not barter. Do not set up any. If you do, then I will. This creates a place for them to manipulate both you and the program. This will result in blocking their progress. Do not let your guilt drive any conversation with your child or facility. You have made a choice to save your child's life. Remember that you have not failed as a parent by putting your child into a program that tortures them. So be honest, direct, and most importantly, it didn't say torture, but proud of that choice. Proud of the choice you sent your kid to the program. Let go of your guilt and grab hold of your pride. You should be prideful that you sent your kid away. Do not attach to status and points. Points in the first 3 status levels are relatively easy for your child to attain. All it requires is compliance. While complying may be a significant change, the real lasting work comes during the upper levels. Let go of your expectations and remember that time is not an issue, only results. Ensure your teen knows that graduation means more than PC3 and points. Be specific about the changes necessary to create a whole and healthy family. Do not allow your child to slide. Hold them accountable for every choice they make in the program. Do not put anything back on the program or facility with your child's knowledge. Work out programs behind the scene. Do this without the child present or knowing. So go behind your kid's back. Ask your teen and family rep for specific evidence that what the teen says is being learned is applied daily. Do not get comfortable. This is your program as well as your child's. Work each day to apply the tools you are learning. Do not wait until your child is home to start creating a family. Keep moving forward with all the seminars. Do not lie to the program. If something changes or you have a problem, tell the truth to your family rep. The program cannot assist you unless they have complete and truthful information at all times. Shit's crazy, huh?
So wait, they sent that to your parents or it sent that to you?
This is for my parents.
Oh, and you have it?
Yeah. So the dues of that are commitment letter. Inform your child that he or she will not be coming home until they complete the program, which means that they are recommended home, and that they graduate PC3. Do this in a commitment letter that is signed by both parents if possible. In every communication, therefore, with your child in program, family reps, directors, etc., reaffirm your intention that your child to complete the program. Clean up any lies. If you have lied to your child about any subject, especially about them entering the program, it is strongly suggested that you write them and let them know that you acknowledge the lie, but it is time to move on. Do not get into justifying or any right or wrong reaction, as it will create an opportunity for your child to attempt to manipulate you. Read and know the parent manual. Most if not all of your questions are already addressed in your school's parent manual. Read it, because it says everything your child could say to manipulate. Right. Follow the chain of command in your communications. Your main communication link with the program is your family rep. Make sure that you join with family rep as your most important partner. If you encounter any difficulty in having your questions answered or your concerns resolved, then and only then should you take the next step. Calling order, family rep, supervisor, program director. Trust the program and get out of the way. You have hired the program and all its staff and as coaches and guides to assist your child to create lasting change and you to create a whole and healthy self and family. Do not let your guilt make your decisions for you. Trust us. Your partners are all very dedicated and passionate about you and your child. See working as a partner with the program. It is imperative that you make this step as quickly as possible. Begin to hold the facility staff, family reps, directors, resident managers, etc., and others such as Premier and your partner, where each is committed to assisting you and your child to create lasting change. Then your whole communication shifts. The result is one of trust and creative solutions rather than disharmony, breakdown, and non-working children. So there's that. But yeah, shit's crazy, man. Shit's crazy. I don't want to like be about me right now because this is more.
No, I mean, no, it's like it's good. Like, it's as good for me. I'm putting this fucking online today. Just you know, yeah, I want the thing is, like, it did take me a minute to get that this is still happening. Cause it's like, how? It's like but it's unregular. It's like nothing's regular. I'm like, but it's like, cause even like my friend was like, this couldn't happen today because like it would be, but it's like you have paper. Like I'm looking, there's paper right there. It says this stuff. It's there. So it's like what, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't understand. Like if it's there, then what's the problem? But it's like I know I'm going through some crazy shit medically where it's like I'm having to go through to doctors and telling them facts about the stuff that I'm going to them for because people just don't know about it, and it's awful. I just can't, and it's just awful. Yeah. So I can believe that this stuff happens even in this day because I'm having to go to my own doctors in my own network of people and telling them facts that the last doctor told me that they didn't know, like about their fucking own profession. Huge facts. And it's like, why don't you know this? And it's like, I just don't know why people don't. It's like, and I just can't even talk about even why, because it's just I just can't talk. Yeah, it's just insane. But yeah. So I understand that stuff can happen because yeah,
it's crazy. I think I'm gonna make some videos on just like reading this material, but I have a whole fucking.
And I want to do the same thing because there's a whole like Lathrop has this whole fucking site too, and I'm like, just even her site, like, so okay, so her schools, it was the CEDU Family of Services, it was the CEDU school, and that was in Running Springs, and that was the first one. That was from 1967 to 2005. In the early days, like you could smoke cigarettes, I think you could, like, I don't know, but like, and then I heard in like the 80s, there was a lot of like sexual abuse, like from like student on student sexual abuse, like from like once you were an older student, it was like almost like hazing with like sororities where like you were like forced, like I don't know, like I read about it like on like right when the internet came out and people were started talking about CEDU, like I would hear older people talking about going there and being like, oh, I got raped by my dorm head all the time, like, or whatever. And then so there was that school, and then Rocky Mountain Academy, it was in Bonners Ferry, Idaho. That was that was RMA was like this real sister school, and that was from 1982 to 2005. And then the Hilltop for young adults, and that was okay. So Hilltop was the one right next to us. That was like in the town next door, and that was from 84 to probably, oh, it says question marks. It doesn't know. It ended when I was there. Hilltop, because my dorm was actually at my older student dorm. When you got to a certain point, you were allowed to go, and an older student dorm would have like more privileges with your peer group for like the last 2 months maybe. And my older student dorm was Hilltop. So that would be, so the question mark for that, Lathrop, would be, I would say 1996 or 1995. 1995 or 1996 was the end of Hilltop. Definitely 1996 was the end of Hilltop. And then CEDU Middle School, Running Springs, that was the one that was on our campus, but it was like maybe like 50 or 40 kids that were like anywhere from like 8 to 13. They told me that I was really lucky that I made it to the high school because I got there when I was in 8th grade, and I was just 14. And then Ascent was in Ruby Ridge, Idaho, and that was from 1992 to 2005. That's where like they would send you if you were really bad at just one of our schools. And also there was Boulder Creek Academy was also in Bonners Ferry, Idaho. And that was okay. So and then Ascent was 92 to 2005, and the Boulder Creek was from 93 to 2005, and then Northwest Academy was Ruby Ridge, Idaho, from 1994 to 2005, and then this one I didn't know about, Milestone Transitional Program in Idaho, core something, I don't know the word, Idaho, from 99 to 2005. I didn't know that one. Oh shit, I didn't know about this. Oh, okay, so I didn't know about this. Supposedly the singer of Suicidal Tendencies went to CEDU. Mike Muir. There's a song called Institutionalized that is supposedly about his time at CEDU. Hold on, let's see. I probably can't play the song.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah,
I'm not gonna play the song, but this is the video. But like, supposedly that's about CEDU.
Oh, right.
Has 19 million views. I've never heard it yet. I still haven't listened to it. But okay. Yeah, there has been a lot of books about it. So yeah, something that somebody told me today was interesting. Was that like I just put out a text of like like talking about me wanting to do what you're doing and picking up where this guy Liam was going with having a documentary about CEDU that he put up. She's like, oh, somebody's gonna do that, like somebody, like I'm sure that somebody's already doing that. And it's like, yeah, well, we think there are, so nobody really is. Like the only person that I think my friend Adam Egan is supposedly working on something on like a series or a movie, I really hope that he can. But it's like everyone's like, oh, it's like somebody else is always going to pick up that trash and it never gets picked up. It's like that. It's like, so when you were like, so when I was trying to get people to talk to you, because I was like, I've always been wanting somebody to talk to me, to ask, I'll fucking always talk about this shit. It was fucking weird. We were in a different world. There was different language. We were like, and then like I came home and kept up like the rules, you know what I mean? And then like still believed it was a good place. I went back and visited and told Paris Hilton to stay, that it was a good place, that her life would be better if she could stay there, that like it wasn't that bad. That's what I did. I did that for a week after I had left for a year. I did that. I still believed it was a good place. I didn't realize for a long time that like when they do things like that to you, when you are kept up all night many times and people are screaming in your face and you're like when they tell you you can't eat or go to the bathroom and they keep you up, or then like tell you can sleep for like a couple hours and then give you a morsel of food and then tell you some sort of wisdom that all of a sudden is going to make sense to you, and then show you a picture of when you're 4 while you've been listening to John Lennon Imagine for a day straight. You're going to have crazy, you know what I mean? You're going to have a fucking crazy experience, like, yeah, it's just, it's like, it's just really like, it's hard to explain the actual physical things that we did and how emotional they were, because it's like, yeah, like, hold on. Okay, let me try to explain just one thing. Let's see. Hold on, let's see. CEDU profits. What profit should we try? Let's do the I wanna, okay, no, like, let's do the I wanna live. Because I kind of remember that one. This is after 15 months. So, in the script it says that let's see. The music is the greatest love of all. He ain't heavy as my brother. I am a rock. I am an island. I need you like the flower needs the rain. In a simple way, I love you. And I want to live. but I think that's is that what is the I Want to Live? How do I not remember what the I Want to Live song is? I don't remember. I think it might be John Denver. I don't know. I'm Alive by Neil Diamond. Lean on Me. Love is Real by John Lennon. I can still hear that song a million times. I can never hear that again. Love Lifts Me Up Where We Belong. What One Man Can Do. I don't remember that song. Sunshine on My Shoulders Makes Me Happy. Sweet Surrender. The Way We Were. We've Only Just Begun. What the World Needs Now. The Room Set Up. Whatever. The room should be filled with things that represent a healthy, loving life. It should be simple and elegant, and the children should feel surrounded by beauty and life-affirming art and energy. The item should come from the school and associated with other students. Be cautious of the desire to overdo. Multiple paintings and pictures representing life. Sculptures, flowers, books, plants, candles. Wilderness gear. A flip chart. Welcome to your I Want to Live Profit. And the signs. So they'd set up the chairs in a big circle in one room because there was only like 15 of us tops. It was just all chairs in one big circle in a really big room, like a big like half the size, like almost half the size of a fucking basketball court. Big, like huge room, like maybe a quarter, but like a really tall ceiling, and one wall was just windows that looked over the cliff of a mountain, like the side of a mountain. So and then at night they would open all the windows, so you'd be freezing cold, and then you would have no shoes on, and then and you have to have your hair up and no shoes and no jacket. You can't go like this. You can't pretend that you're cold. You can even get in trouble for shivering on purpose to try to keep yourself warm. And they do that if you think you're falling asleep. Because like if you're then that's when they open the windows to keep you awake. So that was the music, and then so the signs. So above there like above on the like there was like a walkway above, and then on this wall there'd be these we had these like long rolls of paper that were like kept at like a couple places, but there'd be big signs. One would say I Want to Live in big black, it says big black letters in rainbow colors. Oh my god, it even says something is this different than I am going to live. I have alone. What's why so diff ? I don't know what the fuck that is. Okay, I Want to Live, and then another sign would say love, and then love, and then dash, and then life, smaller and square. Oh, so two different. Okay, so it was like love is better. I don't know. Love equals life, and then fear is death. And then, so those are, this is what, I don't know if you can read that. It just says that, but I don't know, it's like, it says, it's weird. I can't really understand what it's saying. And then, so number 4, it says, to the degree you feel to the same degree that you are alive. Oh, so that is the take off of the first thing that we learned, which was, to the degree you feel your sorrow, the same degree you feel your joy. So so that's like a kickback to the degree you feel to the degree that you feel, to the same degree that you are alive. And then life is a feast, yet everywhere people are starving. Did I get it right? Yet people, oh no, it's just, they just said, and yet people are starving. But somebody, yeah, write more. And then suggested writing assignments. Okay, somebody just wrote notes on top of that. Okay.
Where they say all this shit?
This is like, that's how specific this this script is. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I understand. Yeah, like, yeah, no, like that was in the script. Like, so then, and then let's see. Okay. The music, says passengers enter to the song, I Want to Live. Play it through to the end while the students are noticing the room setup, the art and the flowers, etc. Read beauty from the prophet. Me. Understanding. So you be understanding when you're reading from the prophet, it says. Facilitators, draw on the idea listed below for your welcome/introductions. And it says in the notes, like, kids, welcome them, ? Share with kids, ? It says, welcome. Welcome. You have worked hard to get here. Each of you has made a series of choices that put you in the seat you occupy today. This experience is about choices. The ones you make every day that move you in a direction. It is about the life and what. Oh, that's kind of like, that is pretty close to what you, like the first thing that you were learning. Look at the signs in the room. Now I want a popsicle. Look at the signs in the room. What do they mean to you? Facilitator may want the students to read the signs and to comment on what they mean. This prophet is a simple prophet. It is about what is black and white in your life. You will leave with the tools to you will leave with tools to use that. You will leave with tools to use that will allow you to live the life you want to truly experience love/life. Oh, so the whole thing was like, love/life was one thing. That was what I was trying to read that I didn't understand. There was a sign that was one side. It said love/life. It was like a pretty sign. And then the other side is fear/death. And it was like dark and blue. Yeah, whatever. So that, like, there was just one thing and the other thing. Fear had to do with death, and love is always about life. Right. We are all going to the same place, mountaintop, to the light, etc. No one will be left behind. We are totally here for you. Faculty are 100% committed to you. Ask the participant, what do you need when you go mountain climbing? Answer, supporter, facilitator. Use whatever analogy that will work with this group. If they have had some form of outdoor experience, i.e., alpine tower, backcountry trip, whatever works, you might, why wouldn't they fucking know that? But that's a really, I don't know why I would say that. Like, obviously, okay. You might want to draw on that. The idea here is to talk about the importance of support, being there for one another. Mount Alive. Goals. Facilitator. You may write these on the flip chart or not. Develop them as concepts or just keep for your own focus. And then it says number 1, to create hunger for life, right on the chart. Oh, so this is it. So this was okay. So, like, it was like, what do you, what you're right on the, like, what, it was like, you have to decide, like, what do you need to survive? It was like you have like a super intellectual conversation of like the actual needs of a human being. But yeah, so okay. So this is what we were talking about, which is why I even started looking. So remember, we were like, so this was what we had agreed to. No communication with family for 1 week. No side conversations. No talking about experience tools or / may only share your own experience. Touch and look at props during breaks. No candles. You were allowed, I don't remember candles being there. Purpose, to enhance continue experience and hear something. Those are just notes. Okay. Do not touch stereo or anything on facilitators' tables or thermostat. All breaks and what you can do with them will be announced. Change chairs each time you get up. Maintain eye contact when asked. Go for broke 100%. You must complete this experience. Wasn't that something that you had? Didn't say you must and didn't say you must complete this experience?
Yep.
Yeah. No questions from this point on was a big thing. Like, you're not allowed to fucking question anything that you say. You can't say ask why anything is happening. You just have to do it. That was like a huge thing. You can't ever be like, why would I do this? You just that's a big thing. And you check to see if everyone thinks they know anything. Check to see if anyone check to see if anyone think they know anything is what somebody put notes in it. No questions from this point. If there are questions going for broke, let's talk now. And there's questions. Okay. No right or wrong way to feel. Oh, Oh, the places you go. Oh, so then you read the fucking Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go, which is ridiculous. Okay, and then there's discussion. We are going to do something here that will make it impossible to lie. Even the most skillful liar will not be able to lie. And then the next, you don't have to worry about it. Your body will tell the truth. At the end of this prophecy, you will have a clear understanding of what brings life to you. You will know what to do. You will be able to choose the direction of your life, a real turnaround. You will understand the sparkle and enthusiasm about life. So they just tell you all that, and then they take a break, and they play a song. Introduce the concept of love and life and fear and death and fear. Include that we are talking about physical and emotional death. The facilitator on an easel pad will write the words love and life on the top, right? And then have colored markers ready and ask the participants what represents love and life to them. Oh my God. Did you see Donnie Darko?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
Do you remember the part where he's like, remember when Donnie tells the teacher?
Yeah.
You remember like the fear and death, if it's not on the spectrum, like then you're gonna get an F for the assignment for the day. And then she tells, do you remember that teacher, Mrs. Farmer? Well, my brother told her to stick a book up her ass. And my parents just bought him all this new shit. I love that line. But it's basically that. The list below offers some examples of words / ideas they might come up with. Facilitator, this is the time to bring in moments you have shared or have seen them when they were experiencing love and feeling very alive. So love and life is aliveness. I don't know why that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that needed to be said. Okay, so aliveness, enthusiasm, light, joy, acceptance, music, friendship. I hate when people think that music I don't understand. Okay, never mind. Anyway, music, friendship, kindness, feelings, touch, art, beauty, generosity, spring, and sunsets. How the fuck is a season? Okay. After they have brainstormed this list, you may want them to brainstorm a list of the people they know who represent love and life to them. You hang the love and life list next to the one already up in the room. Okay. After this is done, you'll want to storm a list that using that same process for death / fear. Put on an easel pad, like fear / death, and this is the other things that could be fear and death. Deadness, boredom, lies, fear, drugs, abuse, manipulation, darkness, anger, numbness, stealing, rejection. Hang the death and fear list next to the one already in the room. The inventory, the facilitator begins to question where people are at, how they are feeling right now. The purpose, and then a capital. The purpose of this inventory is to begin the concept of the body never lies. The body never tells lies. As students share where they are at, you begin to point out what their body is saying and list discussion from this group. They may be light and playful, but point out what they are saying, versus what they are doing. Reiterate or revisit, you are what you do, not what you say, and the body never lies. After the initial exposure through the inventory, next you will want to divide the group into two. Each group takes a turn doing the following. Okay. Instruct the group to allow their body to express exactly how they feel at this moment. Allow it to show the world what is going on inside in silence. Encourage them to exaggerate, to really get into it. Have the other half of the room observe the active group, then get them to read what each person is saying. Be very observant. Notice what the students see and what they choose to not see. You may introduce the concept of projection at this time, that we see in others that which is true for ourselves. We cannot necessarily know exactly how that person is observish. So wrongly. Okay. You may wish to do each person, or only a few. The person being read needs to remain silent until the general sharing at the end. After group A is gone, allow group B to do the same thing, to allow their bodies to express exactly how they are feeling at this time. Tell them to pay attention to even the smallest of detail and allow their body to express their feeling. Then have the other group read what they think is going on with the person. Once both groups are done, have passengers return to their chairs and do a short debrief on what this was like for them. Do not allow this group to get into "you were wrong about what you say." Redirect them back into the primary objective. The body doesn't lie. It tells us in its own language what is going on inside each of us. In the break is silent, and the passengers in the room sit up, and they set up a few at a time to use the restroom. Oh, you can only use it. Oh. And in this one, they used a Pink song that says "Don't Let Me Get Me." Pink wasn't an artist in the fucking early 90s, like she was there, so that wasn't our song. Oh, and the music in the text, it says music. It says "I want to live" or something appropriate. I'm trying to remember what the song was. I don't remember how the "I Want to Live" song goes, and that's really funny because I'm sure I don't remember. So then this disclosure, then it says disclosures. The disclosure circle in the "I Want to Live" needs to be orientated about complete accountability for their actions. They may also share things that have happened to them, but when they talk about what they did to others or themselves, bring total accountability and honest to that process. If the child discloses "I stole," get the details. Have them go into who, what, where, when, and how. Break that group into of their disclosure circles. Consider student contracts, past history, those that will set the tone, negative and positive, and divide accordingly. Make sure broken agreements are disclosed as well as then taken back to the team. Remember is what it says. It is often in the "I Want to Live" that students will finally share a disclosure they have held on to. Make it safe. Yeah, because that was the whole thing, is that they always, they'd always push you to tell that, come on, you got more, give me more, always. And if you didn't have it, you would just sometimes make shit up to get them to stop, but that didn't make them stop. It just made, you know what I mean? So it was, yeah. Set up the eye contact, open body position. Okay, so then basically, basically from then on, you realize that, like, you have to stand like this. Like, you have to have, your arms are like this, and you have to, I don't know if you can see me. You have to be like this all the time. Like, so you're sitting and you're constantly like, just like this. And like, even like, you just always have to have your body open, and you're like, you can't have, like, if you're like this, that's how you sit every time for like the next year. That's how you sit in a profit. It's like that, because or else you're lying. And if it changes, then that means you're lying. Okay, and then the disclosures. The disclosure circle in the "I Want to Live" is one that is orientated about the accountability for actions. They may also share things that have happened. Right. You are in your "I Want to Live" the profit you remember your big sister / big brothers getting out of when you were little. So right. So like when you got there, the people that were taking care of you were getting out of I don't want to live. So you're like, oh, this is like, it was like a really powerful prophet, and like it made people like super strong, and you really wanted to know what happened to it because it was really hard, but it was worth it. You know what I mean? And they're different now. And okay, you have done great work to get here. Many people never get it to their fifth prophet. Now it is time to let it all go, to trust that you can have more love in your life. What if today really was the first day of the rest of your life? What would you choose? What do you need to let go of to get what you want in your life? And then as a peer group, you need to bring safety to this experience and to be here for each other. Offer examples of how they've supported and or not supported each other in the past. What were the results? And create safety. You will get out of this experience what you put in. Look at all the time you've wasted in negative, destructive things. Choose to move in a direction that will bring you closer to love or life. As you talk, take inventory of everything negative you've done. You are the only one who cares about what you've done. Let go of it. All the time in the past you feel has stopped you. It is going to stop you again. Break group into many disclosure groups as you want and take the time to adequately cover their disclosures. When done, each person should share their hardest disclosure. Pull entire group back into the horseshoe. Yeah, it wasn't a circle. It was a horseshoe. And then you read beauty from the prophet. I can't remember. It was like people of orphalesy speak to us of beauty, and it's like beauty something something something, and beauty something 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 something. She be not something, but she be the something. And I don't know. You learned about beauty. It's really, that's very very close to what it was. Ask the group, what do you see all around the room, and they work them to what they want to say beauty, because in the beginning they had put all that stuff around. So like they were really tricky into saying, like, if you'd be like, oh, I see a window, and they're like, oh, what is it about? I'm like, and then you get them to say, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, okay, so it's beautiful. And then we would realize that they wanted us to say the things were beautiful. And this is where we're going to talk about beauty, but we must first go through the darkness. And then you put up there's like a flip chart. Life is beauty. Beauty is truth. You see beauty by telling the truth. Time is life. Negative behavior equals wasted time, and wasted time equals wasted life. Then you have a break. Then you listen to a bunch of music. And then the setup for the facilitators has passengers push their chairs back against the wall and have them stand between the signs of love and life and fear and death. Yeah, because on one side of the room is love and life sign, and the other side is the fear and death sign. Where's that? An option is to draw a line on the easel pad with, okay. Imagine a line across the room between signs of love and life, fear and death. Which direction do you face? There is no gray, no in between. You must choose a direction. You will get it incomplete for the day. You may want to lie to yourself. Look at more than just the few months or year. Look at where you place your every day, where you live your life with fear. Where do you put yourself on this line in relationship to the other people in the room? Find your place. Facilitator, work with the group and individual. This is not about fighting for each child to get in front of the line. Work with the concept. Have several people place themselves next to the wall that has the fear and death sign. Work with what they do. Assist them in becoming honest. Ask the question like, where do you put yourself when you sell out? What direction did you face how much does your fear keep you from seeing the beauty? How much does your fear run you each day? If they begin to struggle with each other to get in front of the line, so this is what they were trying to do is they were trying to make you fight to be first in line to be at fear and death. So they were saying to you, no, you did this. No, you continue to do this. You're farther up than this person. She's only doing this. But then that person that just got kicked out of first she's like, no, I'm bad too. And so everyone is fighting to be just in this one corner of one of the part of the room that just is right below it says fear and death. And then it just gets to the point, just gets to the point where they're like, do you see how ridiculous? You're all fighting to die. You're all fighting for fear and death. Look at this other side of the room. There's all this other side of the room that you guys aren't even paying attention to. Look at all this other beauty over there. But he's like, you're fighting so hard for fear and death. And that's like and then you're like, huh? And it's like, that's it. That's like the second, it's like the first hour. But like, just like we're so like there's so much more. Like there's like it's like nothing. Like how like that's like it's still like not even midnight and this happened. And it goes in. You go in at like when people go to bed. Like it's not even it's like 11 o'clock maybe. And when this happened. So it's like there's a part where like. Oh, then like I didn't even remember most of them. There's negative sculptures where like okay, like whatever you're here for, you have to make a body sculpture of what that is. So like if you were there for having sex, you have to lie on your back with your legs open and like make it look like you're ready for somebody to fuck you. Or if you're there for drugs, you have to like make it look like you're like, I don't know, gonna like do drugs, but like you have to do like make it like a sculpture of like, oh, and then like you should make a negative sculpture of yourself of like make like, you know, like what you would be like if you were in your worst nightmare or whatever. And then if like living your worst nightmare someday, that's another one of this. And like this, it's not even, it's super early in the night still. And then, and there's like a list of like all the things that they thought were about, like stealing, shoplifting, abortion, sexual molestation was your fault, bitch. Oh fuck, I didn't know that. Oh god. Drunk driving, abusing animals, homosexuality, prostitution, attempted suicide, hitchhiking, using friends, carrying concealed weapons, drug use, selling use. Runaway, abusing parents, tattoos, overdoses, mental hospitals, car accidents, arrested, juvenile hall, expelled, failed classes, vandalism, burglaries, special ed classes? You're supposed to feel bad about your special ed classes. Lying, giving up, image, arson. Image meant like anything that was like cool. Like if it was like rock and roll in any way, or like any like, or like, if it's associated with any type of music, then image, arson, mutilation, devil worship, vagrancy. Those were all things that would be bad.
Was anybody there devil worshipping?
Yeah. I want to become a pastafarian just because it makes people mad, just to piss off enough people, as I think it's so funny. Do you know what that is? Do you know the flying spaghetti monster? Do you know about the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster?
No.
These Swedish people, I think they're from Sweden. They like made a religion that is just making fun of Christianity and like made it so it's a fucking flying spaghetti monster, and their religion is they just wear colanders on their heads. So they went to the DMV with the colander on their head, and they legally couldn't, so they had to fight for their religious freedom to wear colanders. It's this amazing thing. It's like an atheist religion. It's amazing. But it's called the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, and if you're in the religion, you're a pastafarian. So I'm thinking just because it's funny. Let's see. Okay, the struggle exercise. Okay, all right. So this is it. This is what I wanted to get to. This was the one. This is what everyone had a hard time with. So, the struggle is the key experience in the child's growth and development, and this section needs to be set up and monitored tightly. This was the fucking, okay. Oh, fuck, okay. After a few minutes of feeling the weight work, the facilitator selects 2 to 3 people who are ready to work. Those passengers are pulled out and are set up individually with faculty. The other passengers who are part of their projection circle are set up to support the working passenger and any additional passenger added to support. The facilitator sets up this session as follows. The working passengers are to be on their hands and knees, adjust posture if needed, Can be done in a chair if there are problems with a person's back. Other passengers from their projection group are to place their flat hands on the person's, it says mid back and then crossed out, on the person's shoulders, not on neck area, not on the neck area, not on the neck area. They are instructed to apply, they were like really like make sure they're instructed to apply pressure to the person in resistance to the passenger on the floor pressure. They are only to apply pressure, not hold down or put excess weight on the person under them. This is critical. This exercise is a metaphor and is not have to become a battle or a fight. That's not really possible. That's what they're them saying, that this exercise is a metaphor and is not it is not have to become a battle or a fight. That's not even English. So that is the exclaimer. It is not a very good one, because that is the whole point. They are telling you that you are fighting for your life. So when you have people holding you down, you are supposed to fight for your life. So I don't know why it fucking says that. Because the child needs to be encouraged to have a voice, and this exercise, any sound or words are to be encouraged. Tell them to resist the weight. At least 2 times in the experience of the struggle, the child should be instructed to quit or surrender. Determine which language and understanding is best for that child, and just feel the feeling of quitting, of letting go of the struggle. Then they need to get back up on their hands and knees and continue to struggle against all that holds them down, all the weight they carry, all that fear that keeps them from being truly alive. Only facilitators talk to person. Remember all the times your lever was held down? How many times has that little boy / girl tried to have a voice but was pushed down? All the weight is trying to have your own life. All the weight of trying to have your own life and couldn't. All the times you held yourself down. All the times you almost stood for your life and you gave up. All the times you wanted to fight and gave up. And the music is Little Good News. I don't even know what song that is. And then the pillow pounding exercise. Facilitators, after a few minutes of gently pushing, feel the weight work, move the pillow pounding bioenergetic exercise. So that's what it was called, the pillow pounding bioenergetic exercise. Set this up by having 2 different pillows ready to be placed in front of the passenger. A small pillow is to be held in the hands, both hands, and is to be used to pound the larger pillow in front of them. The purpose of this exercise is to give the child a voice, to release the pent-up frustration, anger, hurt that has built up over the years, and then it says crossed out, and to give them a tool to use in the future. That's crossed out though. It says, and to give them tools to use in the future, but that was crossed out. Have the other passengers move away from the working passenger and place the working person on their knees. Instruct them that they are going to have an opportunity to give all that is inside a voice. The child who was hurt, the child who acted out of fear, etc. Place, and this is like, okay, they're like, when they're telling you that this is 10 minutes, they're screaming at you. You're gonna get it all out, everything that you've ever, all the voice, whatever. We haven't let you, because they haven't let us hit anything in anger for a year and a half at that point.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing with the release process.
Yeah, and then the pillow, okay, and then this needs to be instruct them, have the passengers move away from the working have the other passengers move away from the working passenger and place the working person on their knees. Instruct them that they are going to have an opportunity to hitting, the small pillow, the child needs to be making the child needs to be making a sound while doing this action. This exercise is done in 3 phases as follows. Okay. Oh, wait. Instruct them that they are going to have an opportunity to give all that is inside a voice, and the child who is were place the small pillow in both hands and instruct them to lift up and come down on the big pillow with the small pillow. This needs to be a full extension of release and not a hitting of one pillow onto the other. The small pillow is lifted up over the person's head and come down hard onto the larger pillow with force. The child needs to be making a sound while doing this exercise. This exercise is done in 3 phases as follows. Music is on. What the world needs now. It's played 2 times, and in the first phase is the pillow pounding and making a voice with it says hardcore bioenergetics. And then the second phase is pillow pounding, and you stop person and have them explain what memories are coming up and what they are seeing, remembering. Have them place a face or situation on the pillow and attach the feeling to a specific scene. They may say their own face, in which case ask who was coaching, whose voice told you these things, who taught you. Have them talk to a person if needed. The third phase is pillow pounding. Go for broke. Really push them to get it all out. It helps some children to know that there is an end in sight, and they will feel successful if they know they are going for broke for just a few more minutes. Holding pillow. That song I need you like a flower needs a rain. That was played, and then they said after the child has done the pillow pounding, then they lay on the floor holding onto one of the pillows. The faculty assists the child by asking what it is feeling, and then encouraging the child to surrender to that feeling. Explanation, all capital letters. The child is to be by themselves. No other children are to touch them during this time. Faculty should provide minimal touch. This is the child's time to go into themselves, to feel how they felt without much guidance or interference. Holding pillow with touch. Music, love is real, 1 time. Love is real, real is love. That's all. While a child is lying on the floor holding their pillow, they may now be touched by the other children. This needs to be very loving, gentle touch. Faculty talk to the child about getting what they need, how their feelings are real, etc. And then it says separate, not laying on the floor, but something I can't read what she wrote. Lifting up. Oh, and then the music is love lifts love lifts us up where we belong. After love is real, child is supported to their feet into a group hug at the point in the song where love lifts us up is playing. Child is held up and supported by the group and then gently sat back down on the floor with the group. After the first round goes, facilitator explains to the group what this is called, what will be happening, and that each person will have a chance to do this work, have children share. So that was just like, that all happened just for 1 kid. Now it's got to happen 16, 15 more times.
Yeah.
End this part of the prophy with a giant smush pile and facilitate that faculty taking care of their feelings from the experience. Have each person share where they're at, how they feel, and keep it in the here and now. Break with partners or silent. And then there's like sharing, and then you listen to the song I Want to Live. Begin the session with a hand exploration. What could hands bring to the world? Oh, because then we're supposed to look at how. I remember you're supposed to look at your hand, like how amazing our hand is. Like, oh, the beauty of man, whatever. Only the beauty of the child inside you we're allowed to create, to live, and to give. And the readings, you live beauty from the prophet, and you listen to I Want to Live from the song, and then from the song What One Can Do with Love. I don't know. Acceptance circle, and they tell you participants that the guilt blocks are all growth. Self-acceptance breaks through guilt. Love equals life equals acceptance. The past is the past. Set participants up in one large circle, everyone standing. I want you to reach back into the disclosures, the cop-outs we had last night. Find the ones that were the most difficult to share, the most difficult for you to accept. We are going to put it behind us. Music is I need you. Remember, acceptance means as is, not approval. Everyone goes in front of each other one at a time and asks, name whatever I did something, do you accept me? So you just say like, I whatever, I had sex, I whatever, I molested my sister, I did drugs, I ran away from home. And then you ask that person, do you accept me? And then that person would have to like look you in the eye and say yes or no. And you had to do that with everybody in the peer group. And what person has completed the circle, he or she is asked by the facilitator, do you accept yourself? And you give time for the child to say answer. And everyone, of course, everyone says yes. Do not make the notes that says do not make sense. So I think the notes were somebody asking questions about the prophet, not necessarily notes for the prophet, which is really funny. Then you have to make positive sculptures, like what you're, if you were in your dream, like what you could be, or and the closing music is I Want to Live. On the older students come in, like people that have been through the prophet come in and like with a scroll, which is like a congratulations, and then there's a room set up. Oh, and then they come in and then you all dance. And everyone dances, and I think that's it. Fuck. It's fucking 4 hours long. Is this your longest one?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do one for mine too. But yeah, like it's like like it's weird. Yeah, like a lot of ours weren't like a lot of the this stuff wasn't the same though, was it? Was any of that the same?
Yeah, there's like the release process, yeah.
Yeah, but like the tools, like ours were like, like, did you have like the brother's keeper? Was there anything about like friendship?
I mean, not really. No, it was more about like
Your own, but like your own thing, right? Like, because they didn't really care about like you fucking making friends there, right? Like
that wasn't the point of being there. We're really supposed to like.
Were you like? Were you not allowed to talk about like music? Was there a thing that for like?
Yeah, you can't talk about music. Can't listen to music. No.
What was it called if it was unacceptable music?
You can't play music at all. We can only listen to music in the seminar, and that was the seminar music.
But like, were you allowed to talk about bands? We could be like, I like this band.
That would be you're in your image, so probably bad self-image or something like a tattoo.
Oh, so that's what that was called. It was say like weird.
Or
we had like very specific like words for all that stuff. Like I got there and like I was like, oh, where's my Belly T-shirt? They're like, what's Belly? I'm like, Belly the band. It's my favorite band. They're like, oh, that's a pop off. Like, what's a pop off? I'm like, oh, they're like, so a pop off would be any band that is not like John Denver or some Beatles or specific things. Or so any like good bands would be a pop off, but like so like a T-shirt with a band, the band's name would be a pop off T-shirt.
Yeah,
or so like when you'd sing an unacceptable song, that would be what popping off is or whatever.
Yeah, we actually had uniforms too, so we couldn't just wear.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, we had uniforms.
What were your uniforms? How did you get them? What were they? What were they?
Khakis and fucking maroon and khakis. And then when you got into upper levels, you could have a green jacket, or you could have a fucking maroon fleece. But yeah, or you had to wear khakis and I think it was a white tee. Sometimes, but usually maroon and khaki.
Did you go outside? Was your building inside? Or like,
we had gym time, but that was they had like a basketball court and stuff. But and then they had a rock field for like football and stuff.
Because yours was like a big building, right? It was like yours was like an institution, wasn't it?
It was a bunch of buildings, a bunch of cabins.
But they were but you had bars on the window.
Yeah, it's hard to explain.
I know, and it's just crazy. And see, that's the thing. It's like that's why Pete said, like, I can't believe that my friend was like she doesn't believe You know what I mean? She was like, I don't believe that there are still places like this. And I'm like, that's insane, because it's like, that's the same thing that we're doing. You're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Tell her to look up.
exactly, you know.
Tell her to look up Agape Ranch, Agape Boys Ranch, or whatever.
What is it?
Agape, AGAPE. It's still, they're still fucking.
And it's still there? Yeah.
Yeah, they're sexually abusing like boys and stuff there. I can't really speak on it because I don't know too much, but
Yeah.
they've been charged a bunch of times with sexually abusing minors and stuff like that. So.
Do you know the names of any of the other ones that are still around? I know there's a link on Lathrop's. I saw that Lathrop has a link. But yeah, damn, it's fucking 11.
But yeah, we should schedule a one for you to interview me.
Yeah, I'm gonna interview him, but we'll do another one though, because like there's, I mean, like the fact that, like, you know, have you inspired anybody else to become fucking vloggers?
Yeah, but like I actually inspired somebody else. They're making a weed podcast now because
But weed, is that what you said?
Yeah, for weed, but like the medicinal values of it.
No, I can't. I have to smoke weed because I have a stomach condition. Yeah, I didn't smoke for a long time, but yeah, I have to.
Yeah, so she made a podcast, and then now I guess now you're.
Oh, I lost you. Yeah, no, I mean, it was just, you know, like, it's just like the fucking total necessity. It's just, it's not like, it's not, you know, like, I mean, I think that everybody has like a voice that they want to be heard. I'm a fucking songwriter. Of course, I think that like my voice wants, you know, I have a voice that wants to be heard, but it's like, I think that your school was obviously abuse, and so it's not easy to get people to listen to it about it. You know what I mean? But like, because there was the abuse part, but because it was mixed in with like so much happiness, it gets really confusing for people, like super confusing for people. And it's like, you know, all they say is saving lives. We just, you know, we're saving your kid's life. Like, it was like all like, you know, all about we were gonna save your kid. In like, it was like when I talked to my dad, it was like, you would have been dead if you didn't go there. Or, you know, and it's like, well, how do you fucking know that? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you fucking, like, what, you can be like, just fucking, just like, there's so many other things you could have done. You just like have a conversation, just anything, just move, like, just change any sort of situation. You know what I mean? Like, you just things you do. You know what I mean? You don't need to, like, there's just there's so many other things that you could have done, but it's like, I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that it isn't forcing your kids to do something they don't want to do. It's never going to make them happy.
Can you tilt the camera down a little bit?
Oh, sorry.
Your face. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just never going to make them happy, you know? It's just like, yeah, like, I've been, my dad threw me in like a hospital like 4 times probably, and the last time he did it, I was 18, and as soon as I got there, I was like, I'm not crazy, I don't want to be here, and they got a judge, and they were like, oh, yeah, you can leave, you don't need to be here, you know, and I just, you know, I was able to leave, and so, I went home, my dad came home, I was doing laundry, so I was like, Dad, I got fucking tickets to go to Woodstock 99, I'm like, I wasn't fucking, they were $150, you had me thrown in the mental institution, I had to get a judge to get me out, because I'm not wasting $150 on Woodstock tickets.
Yeah.
So therefore, I was one of the many who was sexually assaulted. So, but yeah, it was, you know, it was fun as had by all. But yeah, it was, yeah, it was just, that's just funny that's why I was like, I have to get out of the house, and I was having to go to Woodstock 99. And all my friends wanted to leave because we knew there was going to be a riot. And I was like, why are we leaving? There's going to be a riot. It's really funny. I was really mad I didn't see that riot. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to do it again. Like, it's like I'm gonna come to Seattle soon to see my nanny, who's my family's nanny, because I have a younger brother and sister. Right when I got back from CEDU, she was my family's nanny, and she was just telling me the other day about that. When she met me, I just walked in the house and I walked by her room, and she goes, "Hello," and hi. I was like, I just like, didn't even, she'd be like, oh, hello, I'm going to be in charge of you now, like, I'm your nanny, and I just wanted nothing to do with her, and she's like, I love her, and I call her my auntie. But yeah, like, I really want to do what you're doing, and so, all my friends, anyone that's watching, please get in touch with me. My number, if you've ever had my phone number, it is exactly the same. I've never changed it. Or just find me on Facebook. I don't answer my AOL. I don't answer emails. Just Facebook me, and that's just Facebook me. Or if you've ever had my number, it's exactly the same. And yeah, I'm gonna do. I want to talk to you more. Also, like, if you've gone to a school that's like CEDU, like, you want to tell me like how different it was, or like it was really recent, and you want to tell my friends about it, please contact me too. Yeah, Kari Bun. Oh, I fix guitars if you're in Connecticut and you need a refret or a broken headstock or a repair. I just opened a guitar repair shop with the guitar tech for They Might Be Giants. And I'm fixing They Might Be Giants acoustic guitar. It's a Martin with a broken headstock. I just fixed it. So I'm really excited about that. So, yeah. So, yeah, my life has gotten a little better since the last time I talked to you.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk again. Yeah, yeah, I did find that book though. That was the one thing that I said I haven't gotten to read it yet. But this was that book that I found at a thrift store once. So 60 Hours That Transform Your Life, and S was half of what CEDU was, because this is about like the game, I think. And like this is about like when they would pit each other against each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, the Alon School did that.
Yeah, and I have another book too. I have stuff like books on like cults and stuff. But we have to like I'll have to bring these out and like really look at them too. But I just found this book again. But Egg. Oh, that's what it's called. It's based on Erhardt Seminars Training.
Oh wow.
We didn't. When we went into like what is it called? Extreme. What did we think that it was called? And I was like, oh my god, is that what it is? Extreme scream therapy? Is that, or was it?
Primal Scream?
No, but you remember you came up with what it could have stood for, and I was like, oh my god, that might be it.
I can't remember. My memory's
It was good though. Yeah. Woo, my brain hurts. Okay, but yeah. So yeah, now you're making me do stuff, and it's awesome. And yeah, I think it's important because like just like a lot of people don't believe us. Like like I just read some crazy like shit, and like that really fucking happened, and like a very similar thing fucking happened to you. And yeah, like that was just one. Maybe next time we'll do another one.
Yeah.
You do one and I do one. But yeah, like it's very the similarities, and I'm talking to a guy named Sean that lives like lives like at like 15 minutes away from me, that went to RMA soon, and that's super interesting to see what how close, because ours were directly sister schools, like they can share staff sometimes, so but hope nobody's mad at me. If if you want, please let me Skype and like tell me. I'm just want to know like how your like we're not talking about like the rule. Like I just want to know what your experience was, and like what you really remember. Like the songs you can't listen to anymore. Like stuff that really hurt you and you can't forget, but the stuff that was like really funny, or like the stuff that like you just can't forget, or like just like the good and the bad, and like who you still talk to, like if and how it like affects your life today.
Okay.
And someday we'll have a Scooby-Doo van and will be crime fighters and do weird, funny things to like shut down the schools in in the way of putting a banana in a tailpipe.
So, okay, we're at 4 hours now, so I want to. So thank everybody for tuning in. If you watched this video to the end, well, you should have already liked the video, but hopefully. So please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the videos. Share them everywhere. Share them on like your like discreet, like super like niche like Facebook groups. Like
And
just
comment and talk to me on it, so I know what to talk about next time. And yeah. And I'm sorry if I made anyone mad. And I know it's all personal stuff, but yeah, I'm sorry. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, you guys. Have a wonderful evening or day wherever you guys are at, and we will see you next time.